Well, welcome to Embers of the Wilds, everybody. I'm Koibu. I'll be your DM for the evening. We are here with a 5th edition D&D campaign. And, well, Freya, how would you like to go about this? Shall we introduce everybody, or should we hop into the middle of it and start rolling dice?
I was just gonna mention like why I wanted to do this in the first place. Like what the point was, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Like because I've been wanting to play D&D for a very long time and like have a proper campaign and do all of the stuff that seems very unique in tabletop RPGs that we don't really have in like digital games. Like there's so much improvisation and player choice actually mattering in ways that you just can't make digital games that have the like level of agency that players have in tabletop RPGs. And I think that's really fascinating. So I wanted to like put together a team of just game developers because we sort of have this perspective of just having like mostly been focusing on digital games for such a long time, and it would be fun to try out like what is the world of tabletop RPGs like, what can it be, and especially with someone who's like been doing DMing for a very long time. So because I've seen some of your campaigns before and I really like the way that you run your campaigns. So yeah, that's basically that was the whole idea. And then I emailed Neil a while back and I was like, hey, would you want to do this? Would that be a fun thing to do? And then apparently he actually thinks this was a good idea. So here we are.
Yeah, I am pretty psyched for this. I have some monsters that I've been waiting to use for years, and I finally have the right art assets for. And so now I can bust them out, and I've been wanting to explore a new area in my world for a little bit. Just a quick word on that. All my campaigns take place in the same world, and they're all sort of based on each other and influenced by each other. But this will be the first one in a new zone and a new time period, which we'll get into later. But it'll all sort of splash into other campaigns in the future or have callbacks to other campaigns in the past. So if you are familiar with my work, you'll notice some things here. But if you're not familiar, it doesn't even matter. Don't even worry about it.
Are you gonna have like references to things and we're gonna have no idea that that's a reference?
Probably.
Neat.
Maybe. You guys are pretty far away from all the other activities that are going on. This is the first campaign set in the Southern Hemisphere, so I think this will be a lot of fresh lore here.
Excuse me.
Okay. So, shall we begin?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right. Is everybody in roll 20?
Yes.
Excellent. So, first things first, we got to make some characters. And we have some vague ideas of what people want to do. I know that someone wants to be a sorcerer, someone wants to be a fighter, and someone wants to be a bard. And today we're going to make those characters, and we're going to flesh them out. And the first part of making characters is always the rolling of stats. Now, 5th edition typically has like a standard array that you can choose. And it's fine. But it's kind of boring. So we're going to roll stats in the old-fashioned way. And there are a lot of ways we can do this, guys. It's a whole bunch of stat rolling methods. So does anyone have any preferences off the bat if you know? Or can I just lead you down a crazy path?
I mean, it seems like it's fun to roll stats. I don't think I would want to like pick from a standard array. I think that there's some excitement in just having some contrast and in rolling.
I think I would prefer either 3d6 or 46 drop 1. However powerful you want our characters to be. I'm fine with either.
Okay. I think 46 drop 1 is usually the best for 5th edition because your stats are really important. They affect your character a lot more than they would in other editions. So why don't we go 46 drop 1? And for anyone who has no idea what we're talking about here, in Dungeons & Dragons, we use regular 6-sided dice to roll stats. 3d6 is the nomenclature for rolling 3 6-sided dice. And then the 4d6 would be rolling 4 of them, and the d1 or drop 1 means you roll 4 6-sided dice, you drop the lowest, and you just add up the 3 highest, and that will give you, something usually around 13 or so, plus or minus a little bit. And for those of you that are new to Roll20, you'll see that there is a little box on the right side, and you can type /r space 3d6, and it'll roll you 3d6, or /r space 4d6d1, and it'll roll 4 dice and drop the lowest. So you can see they, put a little transparency over the 1, and you get 12. You're all going to have 6 stats. So why don't we just take turns rolling 4d6d1 6 times? And who wants to go first?
I don't know. I'm nervous.
I'll go first.
Go for it.
Excellent. Let's see what you got here. A 14. Very nice.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Wow!
Wow.
I am power.
All right, so we've got the carry for the party. The rest of you guys don't matter anymore. Very nice.
I should have taken those rolls. Oh, jeez.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
15, 16, 13, 13, 15, 17. Wow.
Strong.
Okay, well, the max stat you can start with is 18. So I'm sure with your bonuses from your species or race, you'll find yourself with an 18. Who wants to go next?
I mean, after that, I don't know.
I'll go next.
Okay.
All right, bring it on, Autumn.
All right, 4d6 d1.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'm just like looking in chat and pasting exactly.
Correct. 14.
I need to just copy paste this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or you can use
boy.
the up arrow to re-get the last input.
Ooh.
You're so fancy. Oh my god, I'm regretting
All
this
right.
decision already.
All right, there's got to be
14,
one.
17, 12, 10. Oh,
One more.
two more,
more.
please.
Oh, rip.
And
That 17,
goodness.
I got ahead, and then the rest. Oh,
oh,
I can
wow.
work with this. I can work
These are-
with this.
Both of you have much better stats than the standard Ray typically allows. Much better. Which just leaves us with Freya.
You
Someone's
know-
got to have a weak character.
Yep, it's
And,
me.
Oh, no.
All right, 46 drop 1.
Yeah.
All right, we got this. 9. That's a
Nice.
high one among my stats.
15,
15.
11,
Yeah, 215. That's pretty okay.
15,
Pretty good.
And 16.
All right.
Easy,
Nice.
crazy.
Nice.
It's a powerful party. Are you regretting your decisions to 46 up 1 now?
Wow.
It's not too bad,
Wow.
at least. I have a 9, but you know
Too
what?
bad. These are great.
I don't know what.
You all have amazing stats. 9 is nothing. Who cares about 1 now? Oh my god.
I'm just comparing myself to Ashley's rolls right now.
That was a really strong start for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I'm sure
each
you're
of
going to
you-
adapt whatever we're going to encounter to our stats, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'll just throw in an extra 5 monsters for every battle. It'll be fine.
Easy.
It'll just level super fast. So everyone should see a character sheet in Roll20. If you go to the top right of Roll20, there's like a whole bunch of little tabby boys up there, and one of them looks like a folded newspaper called the journal, and you should have a character sheet in there that you can open up. And you'll see on the left side, you got your stats. Now let's quickly talk about our characters before we apply our stats here.
Yeah, too late.
Because I know we all have some ideas of what we're going to play, and we might have to temper some of our expectations
Yep.
or
I
plans.
see.
I'm prepared.
Right. So let's start with Freya, since you rolled stats last. You, as I understand, wanted to play a Tabaxi Sorceress.
Yes.
Okay. So Tabaxi are not native to this region, or maybe even to this world. You are a one-of-a-kind creature who has appeared in this
Aw.
village. Would you like to tell us a little bit about this? Because I know you have a couple of novels already written about your character.
You know, I kind of discarded a lot of those novels because you were like, hey, you should stop writing novels. We should talk about this during session 0. So I don't know
Amazing.
what parts I can keep and what parts you would like to have changed. So I don't know what order you would like to do this in.
Well, why don't you speak about your dreams and hopes, and then I will come through with a wrecking ball and selectively destroy them.
That's the most harsh way of doing this.
You're being harsh? Never.
I'm a bit of a monster sometimes. sometimes.
Should have picked a different DM. Jesus Christ. Okay, let me open up my book.
Well, let's do the easy one first.
It's
How
pretty
did you
short.
get here?
So I think part of the story is that I don't know how I got here. So my character doesn't know how I got to this place. And I think yeah, I'm trying to figure out how much of the story I should tell. Okay, so I think a long time ago, I think some amount of years where the math works out for the age of my character. So when I think my character's name is going to be Pearl, by the way. So Pearl. So when Pearl was very young, I think around the age of 5 or so, she was transported to this place magically in some way, shape, or form. She doesn't know how she got here. She doesn't know why she was teleported to this place in particular. But this teleportation was sort of like a rift in some magical rift that put her here. This magical rift was specifically something that actually exposed her to raw magic. Because as far as I've understood, magic is generally something that you have to harness in order to properly use. And an improper use of magic would kind of be like, I don't know, radiation poisoning. It would just affect you in very bad and unpredictable ways. So when this happened, when she was very young, she was exposed to raw magic and has ever since been very unstable and has been unable to control this magic properly. So, which leads us to why she's a wild magic sorceress, specifically. Yes. So she is in an unknown place. She doesn't really know anyone except for the Lydia, who found her in the forest on the day that this happened. Sort of like a scorched ground somewhere in this forest where this, magical rift had happened. And so Lydia is a hunter who lives in this forest and found Pearl on the ground when she was around 5 years old. But Pearl, of course, doesn't know how old she is because she doesn't remember anything from before this happened. So, don't know if this was an accident, if this was some, act of God. Don't know if this was, it could be anything. So I think for Pearl, she was kind of starting a new life here in this location, and she doesn't remember. Since she doesn't remember her past, she doesn't miss anyone either. So it's not like she cares that much, but she is really curious as for why it happened. And if someone did this, who was it? And, just trying to figure out the mystery of that. Otherwise, she then grows up together with Lydia for most of her life in a cozy cabin in the woods. And Lydia hunts for a profession. That was my planned story for the most part. I have other tomes, but...
And all of that is perfect.
Okay.
I wouldn't change a detail. I would only add to it that magic is exceedingly rare. There are maybe 3 spellcasters in the whole village. It's going to be you, who's the weird one who just appeared and is like a cat girl in a land of mostly humans. And so everyone's like, what the hell is this thing over here? Oh my god. So there might be a little bit of distrust, maybe some social ostracization, sort of like we don't really since the Tabaxi showed up, things have been weird. There's always weird random effects going off around her. Once she burned down a thing over here, she's dangerous, she's unpredictable. Yeah, so there's maybe a little aversion towards you from the other people in this town. Is the only thing I would add.
Yeah, that's totally fine. I think in my plan was that or my idea was that Pearl would not have been allowed to visit other cities because Lydia was protective of her. So Lydia wouldn't really allow Pearl to go to just any random city because she knows that might be dangerous. Because, yeah.
That it leads us into the history of this area a little bit. Some 20 years ago or so, this town that you're in, Trog Canyon, was part of a great empire. But then a war came, and you guys are way off on the outside of the empire, right? So when the whole empire goes to war and there's no telephones or telegraphs or internet, you hear about it by some person showing up on a horse and saying, I'm the local lord of the area, I need, 50 soldiers to come fight this war with me. And you only really hear bits and pieces from it, but somewhere over the course of the war, the empire crumbled, and an army came through, sacked the closest nearby town, which, its citizens never returned to and never rebuilt. And the people of Trog Canyon have sort of been separated from the rest of the world for about 20 years or so. Maybe the occasional person passes through, but you've all kind of been on your own. The empire has fallen apart. You don't have to pay taxes to anyone, but there's not really like a lot of trade, and you've been able to live sort of a peaceful life in this canyon while it's supposedly the rest of the world's kind of fallen to pieces, but it hasn't ever really come to you because you're in this canyon so far away from everything else, and most people probably don't even know you live here, and so no armies came through or bothered you. So the small 500-person village, town, whatever you want to call it, has been pretty isolated, and that's going to also mean fairly low tech. Like, there's no glass blowers in town, so you don't have windows. You have like shutters. No one has like spectacles or any fancy spyglasses or you've got a blacksmith in town who can make tools, but not so much armor. So you're limited to whatever a leather maker can make or whatever armor has just been lying around for the last 20, 30 years. And this will also lead us into our next character a little bit. I'd mentioned that we'll have 3 spellcasters in town. One of them is the Tabaxi, one of them is the cleric, and the third, I believe, is the bard. Would you like to tell us about your bard? Or what you have in mind?
So what I have in mind so far, the name I've kind of landed on is Tristel. And I guess we can talk about race a bit. What I had in mind was like a half sea elf. The sea elf mainly being for flavor, so I can have her be this beautiful siren song kind of bard. And her story is that so her mother being a human and her father being this elf, and so she was alone with her mother kind of from a young age, and the idea being that her entire life is just kind of this longing towards the ocean, kind of being in neither one place or the other, that in between world, and very much longing and channeling that energy into song. And so being a very like emotional character, one that like sees the beauty in the world and wants more out of it, goes out on adventures looking for something, not sure what, but ultimately using song as kind of her outlet.
Okay. So are you from this village, or are you one of those rare wanderers who has passed through and decided to settle down for a little bit?
Yeah, so the kind of wanderer, definitely.
Okay.
Are bards,
So
aren't bards usually like always wanderers pretty much? Like gathering stories from various places, or?
Yeah, I think so for sure. That was kind of what I was thinking.
So what
Very
made
much
you...
a lover character. She has lots of lovers that she has stories about, but ultimately goes on to the next town and can never, like, nobody can tie her down.
Okay. And what made you decide to stay in this town for a while?
Yeah, I guess that's something to explore. Perhaps just wanting to take a break from that life, like going off and searching for something, seeing all these things, all these like lost lovers. No, I must go. But not really finding anything, and so kind of wanting something more substantial. So finding this town kind of like in its own little bubble away from everything, maybe a way to figure out what that is.
Okay. And I will, since you have seen parts of the world, which most other people in this village haven't, you will know that in the wake of this war, the light of civilization has sort of dwindled and has almost gone out in this region.
Definitely.
The towns and villages that you visited are all pretty impoverished now. They all have signs of like maybe once being great, but now all the great things are gone. The populations are dwindled, the resources are gone, there's mass starvations. Some places are ravaged by disease. Most of the great cities have either been like abandoned or just like sad shadows of their own former glories. And this is one of the few like still happy, cozy, intact places that are self-sufficient that you would have traveled across.
Like a
But the
little
rest
oasis.
of the world is a little dark. Yeah. Okay.
A sanctuary.
Now, there's one thing I wanted to talk to you about, Bard. I was hoping that you would be comfortable with changing the Bard spell list just a little bit.
Sure.
I really like the idea of the cleric being the primary, basically only healer in town. But I know bards get a lot of utility out of their healing spells. And there are 2 healing spells bards can learn at first level. So I was wondering if you would feel comfortable dropping those 2 healing spells from the bard's spell list, but then allowing you to replace them with any other 2 spells from first level that you want. So that way you have whatever utility that you need, but we can keep the flavor of the cleric in town as the only healer.
I like that a lot. I definitely the idea I had for her is as far as like the bard and spellcasting is more of like this is like her voice. This is like her way of like, being and existing. And I think that the healing spells don't really align with that as much as it's kind of that like fierceness.
Perfect.
So I'm totally cool with that.
Great. And last but not least, we have our fighter. What do you know about yourself so far, fighter?
So I know about myself that I am the daughter of the sheriff of town. My parent was my mother or father the sheriff? I forget.
Your choice.
Oh, geez. I don't know. How about my father's the sheriff? I guess.
Perfect.
Right. So currently in the present world, I am the sheriff of this town. Sort of the guiding mother hand of this town, keeping everyone in check, keeping everyone happy and satisfied. Yeah, and so I have a backstory of how my personality traits came to be. So, as I was growing up, I had my typical rebellious phase as a teenager, and sort of got this idea that I um, I didn't want to be like my father. I wanted to run away and explore the world and be my own person. And I sort of expressed that by being a troublemaker because I was the strong one, the strong kid in school. So I was a bit of bully, pulling pranks on people, and all of my hijinks slowly escalated as my teenage years went on until one fateful day. Um, I decided to steal the money strongbox, I guess, from a local merchant. Um, and I successfully stole this, and I was running out of the house. But then the merchant spotted me, and I just bolted out of there. And as I bolted out, I knocked over a torch into this merchant's grain store and burnt the heck out of it. And they saw my face. My father was not happy with me. The thing that changed my course in life was instead of harshly punishing me, because my father was the sheriff, they could like do whatever the heck they wanted. They made me help rebuild that storage and help out with this merchant for like an entire year. And I really got to know them, to understand why what I did was wrong. And I got a very deep-seated appreciation for compassion and especially appreciation for my father for not being harsh and punishing, but rather helping people understand how they went wrong. And so now, as the sheriff, I am a disgustingly lawful good character with so much care for this town and wanting to be the best person I can be.
What happened to your father? Is he retired or is he dead?
He's,
Looks like killing
the meme,
parents.
yeah, the meme is killing parents. I guess my father retired because I don't want to be a complete lawful good meme.
Tired father. And are we talking like retired as in I'm just done, but I could still get up and do stuff? Or it's like, oh, my hip is so bad I just have to hang out in my rocking chair all day while my daughter takes care of the town. Like, How capable is your father still?
I think the latter.
Okay.
I mean, he's not like completely crippled, but specifically being a sheriff is a demanding job. You have to like
Mm-hmm.
run around and take care of everyone, and like occasionally like break up a bar fight and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just not up to that anymore.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, all of these backgrounds seem to fit just fine. So let's delve into making our characters. I think you all have a little bit of experience with making characters. But if there are any questions, I'm happy to help. You got your stats. You've got your races. Your races will modify your stats. I believe the half elf gets 2 charisma, 1 dex. The Tabaxi, what was it?
Oh,
2
it's the
dex, 1
opposite of that.
charisma.
Yeah.
Okay. And the fighter is a human. So you get to pick either +1 to all of your stats.
Jesus
Or you
Christ.
get +1 to 2 separate stats and a skill and a feat. So it's a choice for you to make.
+1 to
why
all
doesn't everyone
stats.
grab your character sheet, start filling out stats, and then throw up questions when you have them, and I'll just have your character sheets open and follow along with you, and we can enter a period of open character making and discussion.
Sounds great.
Okay. What were my numbers? What did I roll?
Actually, you're playing Kyra or Kira?
That is a good question. I
Kyra.
have only decided on a spelling, and I feel that whatever people tend to is that's the pronunciation.
I would say Kyra, because that like it's close to your nickname, and I like that.
Okay, so
Kyra.
Kyra, Pearl, and Tristelle? How do I...
Tristel.
Tristel.
How do you spell
I'm
that?
So sorry.
Tristelle. Tristel.
PR?
T.
Oh, okay. Tristel. Okay.
Trist is just sad in French. She sings all these sad songs. I just wanna sing a happy song one day. Oh.
Okay. How does
Well,
this?
Maybe that'll be the end of the campaign when things finally get happy.
Where is
It's
my
gonna take that
lover?
long. Okay, so how do I just? Should I go through the? Wasn't there like a character mancer or
Oh, the
something?
character mancer? Yeah, we don't use that stuff. I
Oh,
grumble about the character mancer. Tries to hold your hand and make things easy for you, but it just makes it more complicated in the process.
I like that it made things easy for me.
No, you know.
How do I? Oh, there we go. Okay, never mind.
Far.
Okay, let's see. 16's got to be my charisma, right? That's my highest.
Oh yeah, divvying up these roles.
Yes. And I would also like to put out into the space that you don't need to optimize your character. You don't have to put your best stat in the most effective place. Maybe you have really, really low charisma, but super high constitution. That's always acceptable. You don't have to play optimally.
But it's my spellcasting modifier.
You know, you could just put your lowest stat in your spellcasting modifier, your second lowest stat in con, and really like max out that wisdom stat, you know? It's great. There's a lot of skill checks that come off of wisdom and int. You might want to put your high stats there, everyone.
So if I put 9 in my charisma, since that's my spellcasting stat, will my like spellcasting accidents be less harmful if I do that? Or
Yes, they will be less harmful. That's a great way of looking at it, Freya.
wait, I thought so with wild magic, there was like I think there's 1 in 50 chance that you cast a level 3 fireball on yourself. Right?
You know, it's been a while since I've looked at the wild sorcerers here.
Which that would like kill me outright, wouldn't it?
1 in 50 chance of just killing yourself? That sounds nice.
Sounds like a very Neil thing to do.
Let's see. Fireball. Fire. You cast Fireball as a 3rd level spell centered on yourself. Yes.
What's the damage
Yes,
on that?
there is a 150. That is a 8d6.
8d6.
Mm-hmm.
13.
4 times 7? 28 damage? Yeah. Oh my god, that's a really weak fireball. Terrible.
Good. Let's hope I do that next time I mess up.
Oh my gosh. I'm so charismatic. I think appropriate for a bard, but with that +1, I'm at 18.
Yeah.
You love to see
I'm
it.
frantically browsing through feats because I haven't actually read through these.
Feats are so fun.
Okay.
So I got the alternate was getting a feat and what else? Proficiency?
And 1 skill. Yeah, 1 proficiency. There is the... Oh, I should also mention, we're going to be using a whole bunch of house rules. We'll get into them a little bit later. But one of the major house rules that is actually important right now is there's a bunch of feats that we've removed. And all of the, there's the backgrounds that you can pick for your character. We're just going to ignore all the backgrounds, and you can just grab 2 skills instead of, picking a background. Because the backgrounds are sort of nice, but I think with the nature of this campaign... It'll probably be better just to develop our own backstories, and you can just grab the skills off of them to stay at the right power level. I'm going to send you to a list of modified feats.
Awesome.
Oh.
Feet. I'm just going to put it in the Discord. So a few of them have some small changes, and some of these feats are from other books that we're not going to worry about. I think we're pretty much entirely going to use the Player's Handbook for rules. If there's something in another book that you really want, we can dig into it, but I think sticking with the Player's Handbook is usually the best way to go.
Great.
I always forget about how weird prestidigitation is. Just create a weird something happen.
What do you want to happen? Here's a weird sound. Here's some coins floating around.
You flair. It's just flair.
Mm-hmm. And props on pronouncing it correctly. It's a hard word to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kind of like Wicthrana Renta, or...
Some people have a hard time saying that too, but you seem to do very well.
I
don't
practice
think it's that hard to pronounce.
every night. I try just getting that right.
You say it in front of the mirror.
Yeah. I still don't really get the difference between I still don't have a clear distinction between intelligence and wisdom. It feels really muddied.
Wisdom is applied intelligence. So
Okay.
Intelligence is how well how smart you are, how fast you can think, but it doesn't necessarily mean you make great decisions, Very, very brilliant people do very, very stupid things all the time.
Very
They're not
true.
very wise. Well, it's the physics to the mathematics. No, that's not maybe.
I really like math, so I should go all in on intelligence and put my 9 in wisdom then.
Sounds right.
Amazing.
Wisdom also encompasses judgment, not reasoning, but intuition, your gut. There's this great little metaphor somewhere that all relating to tomatoes. Strength is your ability to cut a tomato. Dex is your ability. No, strength is your ability to crush a tomato. Dex is your ability to finely cut layers of the tomato. Constitution's your ability to eat a rotten tomato and not puke. Intelligence is knowing that tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing that even though it's a fruit, it doesn't belong in a fruit salad. And charisma is being able to sell a tomato-based fruit salad to someone.
I actually hate tomatoes, so
That's
I don't know.
amazing.
This doesn't work for me. Oh, jeez.
I
But that's a
always
really
think
good
of high.
comparison, though.
Yeah, I always think of high int, low whiz as like attempting to pick the lock before checking to see if the door was open first.
Yes. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. Absolutely.
I don't know if I should like put my lowest stat in strength or wisdom. I'm not sure which one. Because like
Well-
as a Tabaxi, I do have like an extra unarmed strike, which for some reason is not a finesse weapon, which takes strength. Why is that not a finesse weapon? I want to use my dexterity for that.
Because I think the power comes from the force of impact, right? So that has more to do with the power behind the blow rather than the location. Like finesse weapon would be like a rapier where you don't need a lot of strength, but you need to position it just right. And, you know,
I just imagine the
punch in-
claws are more like a set of daggers than
is
like
it
a
bludgeoning
blunt.
damage or slashing damage?
It's slashing damage, I'm pretty sure.
Well, then that is weird.
Right? I think I googled for it at some point, and there was some person who like worked on the rule books and ruled that it should still be strength and it's not a finesse weapon, but I disagree with that. So, I don't know.
Yeah, you do slashing damage equal to D4 plus your strength modifier instead of bludgeoning damage. Well, I guess, you know, slashing damage. You're going to be casting spells anyway.
Well, I mean, I did consider multi-classing though, right? So it might be useful. I don't know.
Put it in strength. It's always nice to be able to carry things around. And besides, wisdom's not a useful stat. You don't need high perception or survival or insight or animal handling or skill checks of any kind.
Oh, is
Good saving
perception
throws
and
against whole
wisdom?
person.
Oh no.
Yeah.
It's kind of good to like
wisdom's-
perceive things.
And wisdom is a key stat for saving throws. A lot of things have wisdom saving throws. Yeah. How are the rest of you?
Adding them
like-
spells.
Oh wow. Ah.
I'm still trying to figure out what stat to put where. I'm very slow at this.
I'm debating if I want +1s to everything or mobile. Because when you make a melee attack against a creature, you don't provoke opportunity attacks from that creature for the rest of the turn, which seems powerful.
Yeah, it is. You can attack someone and then run away, where normally you would have to take the disengage action to flee. It's a pretty strong ability.
That's great. And then you could just kite the enemy and we can all just like run back all the time while the one enemy is trying to chase us down. But I always found that mechanic kind of interesting where you're like the fact that there's attacks of opportunity kind of forces you to commit once you're in like a melee battle. It's kind of neat.
It's interesting because the attacks of opportunity when someone runs away doesn't really track with real world combat mechanics. Because if you're fencing with someone, you know, you're not face to face, you're kind of at weapons reach, going back and forth. And to then just turn and flee should be a relatively easy thing. It's not like somehow that makes it easier to hit you. Your opponent still has to lunge all the way towards you and you're still moving back. So in an actual sword fight, you can run away pretty easily without provoking any attacks of opportunity. But the mechanic does sort of keep people engaged in the fight, which is fun. It's an interesting decision choice that they made a long time ago. Long.
What are the thresholds for the modifiers? Is it every even number
Even
gets
numbers.
you? Okay.
Yes.
Most of my rolls were odd. Rip.
15, 11, 15, 10, 16, yeah.
Just wasting those numbers.
Our bard, you get to know, what is it? You get 2 cantrips and 4 spells. So I see
Yeah.
you've taken Charm
stuck.
Person, Sleep, Comprehend Languages. Interesting choices. And since we dropped those healing spells, you can go ahead and grab anything from the wizard list if you want.
Oh, from the wizard list. Okay, that's what I was curious about. Oh no, too many choices.
I know, I'm so sorry. But it'll be fun. I hope. And
It's
you've
so
got-
fun.
You will start with Bardic Inspirations that are D6s. And I don't think anyone's going to have to make any, they call them, but like subclass choices yet, right? The Bard picks the college at level 3. The Fighter picks Fighter style at 3. When does a Sorcerer pick between Draconic Origin and Wild Magic? Is that level
2, I think?
Actually.
Or, oh, is it level 1?
It is level 1.
Oh, well,
Wow.
I guess I picked that then. Where do I enter that? Is that subclass?
Sure, it doesn't matter where you put it on your sheet since it's just like a couple of abilities. There's nothing to auto-generate.
Mm-hmm.
But you can write it under subclass. So let's... If you cast a sorcerer spell of level 1 or higher, then I can have you roll a d20. On a 1, you get a magic surge, and then it's a d100 on the table. So even though it's a 1 in 50 chance of casting a fireball on yourself, that's multiplied by 20. So that's 1 in 1,000 chance on any given spell cast of fireballing yourself, which isn't too bad.
Still scary, though, just to have that looming threat every time I cast a spell.
Especially because 8d6 would probably completely kill you at first level.
Right?
Like,
depending on where I put my
completely
con.
kill
But...
Yeah.
Okay, I think I've decided on the stats now. I don't know if this is good. I just kind of dumped strength. I have -1 strength.
Lovely. And you still have your modifiers to apply?
Oh, that's true. Right. The ones from Tabaxi, right?
Yes. So that'll bring your dex to 17 and your charisma to 17, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
All right, I'm going to take +1s across the board.
Excellent.
So should we just apply those directly?
Just apply them? Yeah, exactly. 18 strength, 15 dex, 17 con, 14 int, 16 wisdom, and 14 charisma. Wow, your stats were all odd too, weren't they? Practically.
Yeah, all of mine are odd now that I added my modifiers, so I'm wasting 6 points here.
Then I have to, for background, it's 2 proficiencies.
Mm-hmm. And then you should get some for your class as well. And then you get, I think you get 2 from your class, maybe 3 from your class, and then you get 2 from background that you can just pick whatever you want. And you guys might want to coordinate to make sure you've got all of your skills covered, or you might just want to pick things based on what you think your character would know. Won't make much of a difference, but it'll help flavor your characters.
I'm sorry, Neil. Which is that, like backgrounds you're talking about?
Yes. Yes, you can just pick 2 skills instead of like picking the backgrounds. Because I don't think the backgrounds are really going to apply to most of our characters. You can kind of add whatever lore you need, but the mechanics from the backgrounds will just like let you pick whatever you want.
How do we deal with languages?
Everyone speaks common.
Right. Because the like, if there's like a thing where like, oh, add one language of your choice, should I do that or?
I think you all grow up in an area. You all speak the one language here. There's not really any other languages around to have learned. So
I guess I used to
we'll
know
maybe-
one and then I lost it.
Perhaps, yeah. Probably forgotten the Tabaxi language.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Makes
I think
sense.
I get Elven just because I'm me.
Yeah. Let's talk about your mother was the human, right?
Yeah, that's true. So maybe I don't know Elven.
Yeah. Were you raised by your father, or was he just absent the whole time?
He was absent. No Elven for me.
No Elven for you.
Nice. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
But you have really high charisma, so you can probably like fake it and people will believe you.
She's got the Fey features, and so she's
Yeah,
just like,
that-
I'm speaking Elven, blah, 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 blah. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that sounds like Elven to me.
Should I add all the like features to the features and traits section?
I think you can drag and drop them. On the tabs in the upper right, there's like a circle with an eye in it. And if you type in, a feature, I think it'll pop up and you can just drag and drop to your character sheet so you don't have to manually
Oh wait,
add that.
what eye?
On the upper right corner of the browser.
Oh, that one. Right. Oh, I can just search for it. Cool.
Heck yeah, music.
Yes.
It doesn't seem to have some of them. I'll just add the ones that are not there manually. Like feline agility was not listed.
Ooh, right. I think the Tabaxi ones might not show up, but the sorcerer ones should.
Mm-hmm.
And when you guys get to the gear section, let me know, because we'll talk about what gear is available. It's not always going to be exactly what the player's handbook allowed.
Right. How do these proficiencies sound? This is based off of my character's like being a sheriff means a lot of like investigation. So investigation, perception, insight, and athletics.
That sounds great. That
Awesome.
sounds very sheriffy. We're going with a competent sheriff. I like it.
Extremely overqualified. Those roles.
$18 strength, 15 dex, 17 con. We done.
Forget if you choose martial archetype at level 1 or level 3, but I'm going to be Battle Master.
Okay. It'll come in at level 3,
And then
but that's a good choice. Battlemaster is the superior of the two.
it seems so much more fun with so much more choices and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Anything else before equipment?
Probably not. You should probably be ready for equipment. So, let's take a look at the fighter equipment guide. Normally you get to pick between chainmail or leather with a bow and some arrows.
I'm going to be building towards melee, so probably not bow and arrows, but I can still do leather if you'd like.
Well, you are really, really strong. The big bonus of chainmail is that it is flexible. When we talk like historically, it came around, after the Roman era, and the Romans had possibly arguably better armor, but each armor piece was like suited to a person, and to change it from one person to another was awkward. And if you had armor that was a little bit too big, it wouldn't hold right. And so chainmail is this great invention. It's maybe a little bit weaker than banded or plated armor, but it's highly versatile. If it's too big, you just wear a belt and you cinch it up. So I'm trying to find a way to say you can't have chainmail, but it's a very versatile piece of armor. And even though you are like, I'm imagining with 18 strength, you must be like shredded. But you can probably still fit into someone else's chainmail. But it's going to be the only set of chainmail in the village. It'd be the chainmail handed down from your father to you when he retired, and probably handed down to him by his parent, and so forth and so on. So it's maybe kind of like old chainmail. You probably work pretty hard to keep it clean, but it's got a couple of rust spots and some nicks, and some of the links are a little bit broken, and the local smith will do their best to repair it from time to time, but chainmail's not their specialty, and it's very time consuming to make.
I also just really like the aesthetic of scale mail, so if you want to downgrade heavy to medium armor,
Sure. That sounds great.
although with my death modifier it's the same.
It'll be the same, yeah. It'll be the same. Nice.
Oh my goodness.
All right, grab yourself some scale mail. This will work out anyway, because I definitely want to create an air of depressed technology and economics, so that eventually, when in theory you run into people from like a more civilized or more advanced area, there will be a noticeable difference in tech and gear. So you with chain shirt or scale mail works nicely.
Awesome.
Should I add features and traits that will come up in the future, or should we just do that?
No.
when it
We'll
does
just add
that?
them as they. Yeah.
Okay.
No need to do them ahead of time.
Right.
Is there auto calculations, or do I have to like manually adjust armor class and whatnot?
It'll automatically adjust once we add in. Interesting. It didn't.
I just manually typed in scale mail.
Here we go. That same circle with the eye in the upper right hand corner, if you type in scale mail, it'll give you a whole list, and you can just drag and drop to your character sheet. And that should include AC and do auto calculations from there. There you go.
Which one was it?
The bottom one's the new one, the top one's the bad one.
We should set up a wild magic table to roll on, right? So that we don't have to do that manually, I guess.
And if we want to do that, we can do it in between sessions, but
Oh, not right now,
You
but
know,
between sessions, yeah.
rolling dice is fun. And then consulting
Well-
the tomes is fun.
Sure.
Because then you roll your dice and everyone scrambles to get their book, and you know the result is an 18, but no one knows what an 18 means, and so everyone's hastily trying to find it. I don't know. I'm an analog guy. I like the books and the dice. But if you want to do a macro, we can totally make a macro.
Okay, because I was thinking, it's going to happen after every spell casting, I think. So
1 in 20 spell casts.
Right, but that
right?
1 in 20 will happen every time. Or that roll will happen every spell.
You don't have to look up the table unless it's a 1.
Yeah.
Unless it's a 1.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was just thinking
For
would
the
be
previous
like,
campaigns, we had that. She kept on forgetting to roll, so make sure to remember that.
I get the feeling that this is something that Koibu is going to enjoy rolling, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I might take some time and modify the Wild Surge table or use the second
yes.
edition Wild Surge table. You know,
Oh,
we might
I have-
mix it up a little bit.
I'm a little bit terrified and intrigued. Um, there was like a few things on the wild magic table that I would like to replace with something else. Would you be okay with that?
Depends on what you want to replace it with.
I was going to ask
What's
you to
your-
replace it with something that of your choice.
Oh, what do you want to get rid of?
So there are two of them that one specifically will change my height permanently by some amount. And I don't like the like permanent nature of that. That seems really scary. And the other one will change my age by like permanently as well by dice roll. And those things make me uncomfortable. I don't want to have that. But feel free to replace it with like negative things if you want to. But like whatever you think would be fun, I suppose.
Okay.
As long as it's like, I don't know, I just don't like things that like radically alter the appearance of my character, I guess. If it's like permanent, then it's kind of weird. I'm fine with like less permanent stuff, but
Okay. Well, I'll have some rulings on that and some fun changes by the time we get to the wild magic spells.
okay, so I should just ignore the like 5e
Yeah, don't-
wild magic list, or
You don't worry about it for now. It'll be fine.
okay, cool.
It'll be fine. You're in good hands.
I'm not so sure about that.
You're in hands.
Yes,
How about that? There are
That
hands
is true.
involved.
and I appear to be placed inside of those hands. So
For better or for worse.
yep. Now I'm kind of scared to bring up the other thing that I was going to propose. I don't know if it's a good idea.
What else you got?
So I really like the idea of a character that's sort of been poisoned by magic. As in like magic not always being this like super positive thing that's always like used for good. Like the one thing that I've been curious about is that I feel like cantrips should also have a table with maybe lesser effects and not as strong
Like
as
a wild surge table on the cantrips?
Exactly. Because I feel like I'm going to use a lot of cantrips, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's going to be the majority of the things that I do. So if the story is that, like, my magic is unstable, I feel like that should also have that same type of thing. And I don't know if it's a good idea to give you free reign on creating the various ways that everything is going to get messed up when I'm, like, sneaking in somewhere and trying to cast a spell and, I don't know, the house burns down.
I might be a heartless monster, but I'm fair.
Okay.
Oh, this is a good idea. I like this. We will devise a ruling and table for this that is fun and interesting without being overly powerful. Because if you're casting cantrips, that's only a small amount of magic, so the effects should the random effects should only be small as well.
Not a fireball, in other words.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to be like prestidigitation. Whoops! I fireballed my house. It'll be more like
Roll a dice, and I instead cast a random spell from the wizard table on my target.
yeah.
There you go. Or cantrip, I guess. I don't know, just anything like that. That just sort of like fits with the story. I think would be good.
We'll find something. I'll think about this. I'll have some tables built for us.
And then I'll like die session 1, and then all of the table work is just gone.
When characters die, which is definitely a real thing that can happen to your character, so be careful. It should be because the characters made a decision, right? Your death should be the result of your own choices. Death by like pure random incident is not particularly fun. So I would like to avoid those things. Although with wild mages, that is a risk we're gonna have to take.
It's kind of inherently not my decision. So. Well, it is my decision to cast spells in the first place. I guess I could be more careful if I want to.
So
Okay.
let's take khyperia. We kind of got lost after your armor discussion, but I think everything else on the fighter table is legit.
I was gonna ask. I feel like this is a poor decision, but I like daggers. I feel like I could roleplay daggers better than hand axes. So could I swap out my two hand axes for daggers? Okay.
Yeah, and with your 18 strength, you're not gonna miss that one extra damage.
Yeah.
You know, it'll be.
Do I add spells next now? I think I've done all the like sorceress stuff and all the Tabaxi things as far as I can tell.
Yes. So I think it's time for you to pick your sorcerer spell.
Okay. Should I go to D&D Beyond or something? Or...
No, let me give you a super secret, not to share with anybody list.
Okay.
That
thank God.
you can use. Both of you can use this. You'll notice at the top there are spells by class. I just linked the sorcerer one, but there's a bard one up there. This will have all the spells from the player's handbook and Xanathar's guide. So just look at the bottom if it says XGE. That's the Xanathar guide spells, which we're not using. And then you can sort through them and they're categorized and whatnot. And this will help you pick your spell list.
This is amazing.
Neat.
Sorcerers will know 4 cantrips. That's amazing. And 2 spells at first level. Wonderful.
Okay, I guess we should like coordinate a little bit to make sure that we're not all using the same spells. So what spells did you have, Autumn?
Let me open up my sheet. Okay, so for cantrips, I have Message and Minor Illusion. And then for my 4 level 1 spells, I have Charm Person, Sleep, Bane, and Silent Image.
Okay.
Ooh!
Wait, so were there some here that I was not allowed to pick?
The ones that say XGE underneath the book section.
Oh no, but I wanted one of those. I really wanted Shape Water.
Oh.
It seems really neat.
Oh.
I really want Shape Water. That fits my aesthetic.
If it's my aesthetic of knowing my enemy, because I'm not gonna like water.
Oh, that's cute. Because you're a cat.
I don't like water. It just makes me uncomfortable. I have to clean myself all the time. Every time I get wet, it's just so frustrating.
Do Tabaxis do that? Like, is that a thing we're gonna like encounter as a party? Like, you just having like your cleanie breaks?
I mean, the only reference I have to my race would be like cats and like I guess like mountain lions or whatever. That's the closest like to me I can find in this world, I suppose.
So like the town's under attack, but it's raining, so you're like, no, I'm just gonna stay inside. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm just gonna be curled up in some blanket somewhere.
I hate water. Won't fight.
I'm gonna dump the contents of Explorer's Pack into my inventory, or what?
There's not an easy way to dump it. You gotta manually do it one at a time. It's a huge pain in the butt. Oh my god.
I should like dump all the items in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I appreciate that there's a spell called catnap.
Cute.
I do believe that's one of those Xanathar guide spells,
It
unfortunately.
is. Yep.
Yeah.
What about the things that require materials that I very much don't have? Like a diamond worth at least 50 GP for chromatic orb.
Right. So, spell components. Great topic. 5th edition has spell components be mostly optional. If there's not an associated cost and you have your arcane focus or whatever, your divine focus, whatever, you don't really need the spell components unless they list like 50 GP diamond. Those things will have to be acquired through adventuring or through purchasing or something like that. So, for example, Chromatic Orb, you definitely aren't going to be starting off with a 50 GP diamond. Maybe you know the spell, but you've never been able to cast it, and that's like a specific goal you have. Or maybe it's just too much of a pain and you want to start with something more accessible, so you skip Chromatic Orb.
Okay.
But most of the other stuff, like a pinch of powder or sand that is colored red, yellow, and blue, you can easily, that's, you live in a canyon, you got weird walls coming up all over the place, they're multicolored, you can grab some sand. Or have your arcane focus, and it's fine.
Hey Neil, is there like a convenient list of instruments somewhere? I'm having a hard time finding that on Roll20.
You can just make up any instrument you want.
Amazing!
Anything you want, as long as it's not, using electricity.
Or lenses.
Yeah, no, like electric violin.
Please, yeah. I mean, unless you want to reclass your character as Lindsay Sterling, in which case I'm 100% involved.
Amazing.
Really there.
Sponsor us, Lindsay.
Okay, what if my glasses is just prestidigitation? I just like illusion them there. So it looks like I have glasses. How about that? Does that work? Am I allowed to do that?
I think it would be weird because you'd have to be casting prestidigitation over and over and over again all the time, and you would never have had a source to figure out what glasses look like to become. So it'd be like your own imagination. Like, what if I had things on my face? And everyone would be like, why does she have these things on her face? What does it do? You can do it. It would just be really weird.
Okay.
Which is fine.
I'm gonna find glasses at one point. I'm not deleting that layer from my character art.
Oh, fighting style is first level though. I'm gonna do protection.
Ooh. I think protection is actually the best fighting style, and it's really underused.
Is that the one where you can like huddle up with someone and be like...
Disadvantage on any attack roll other than me within 5 feet of me.
Right.
Pull up my shield and go, yeah.
Yes, but you have to use your reaction to do it. But you can like shield your friends. You can make a huge difference in combat that way.
How many spells do I get? Is it 2 spells and 4 cantrips?
2 spells and 4 cantrips, please.
Is there anywhere I should write down like the fact that I have protection, or?
Yeah, there's that feature and traits section, and I think if you go to the, what is this circle with the eye called? The compendium.
Does there need to be any protection thing in there?
Fighting style protection. Add that. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and now I think there's a button you can push, and it'll throw it into chat. Everyone's got their stats and their saves. We got some of our skills down. You're still working on your skills, Tristel?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where I need to be grabbing those and putting those.
Right, so there should be some number from your class.
Things like Bardic Inspiration and whatnot.
Yeah. Let's see if we can just grab those.
Oh yeah, I should put up my character art on stream, because why not show that while we're doing this?
Nope, you already have it. Lovely. Oh, cool. So bards get any 3 skills, plus the 2 from whatever background you would have picked. So any 5 skills that you want. How nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And eventually you will get expertise at level 3, which will give you additional bonuses with some of your skills. It's nice.
Can't seem to drag and drop second wind onto my features thing. Could you do that?
Absolutely. Second wind.
Seems a lot, but okay.
There we go.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Neil, how many additional skills did you say I got?
5 total.
Okay, awesome.
This is very large.
Is that-
This PNG is huge. Goodness. Sorry.
Is that including, I have a proficiency in perception, being an elf?
Yes.
Awesome.
Oh, no, the elf one is free. Actually.
Awesome. All these skills.
Yes. Many choices ahead of you.
There we go. Character
But I
art.
think there's a bunch of very bardy stuff in there, right? Like performance and persuasion.
Did I stretch this? I don't know if I did. You know what? I don't know. Anyway, that's my character art. Apparently the glasses are not canon, so keep that in mind, I suppose.
Do I detect a little bit of salt in that dish?
A little bit, maybe, yeah.
I'm confused how my initiative is 2.15. Is that?
Yes, that's correct. We add the dexterity to initiative as a tiebreaker. So that way when 2 people roll 18, then the person with the higher dex has the higher 18. As opposed to, and that way it's a little bit easier when we auto shuffle the initiatives and auto arrange them, so we don't have to have so many people going on the exact same turn order.
Sounds great.
What are the sources for my skills? Because there were the ones from Tabaxi, and then I don't think there were any from Sorcerer. Was there anything else?
There should be some from Sorcerer. Do Tabaxi get skills out of the gate?
Perception and stealth.
Wow, that's very strong. Yes, sorcerers will get. Let's see. If you have the book on you, it's going to be page 100 in the player's handbook.
Ashley currently
You
has the
pick
book, so.
2 from Arcana, Deception, Insight, Intimidation, Persuasion, and Religion.
That's a list.
So-
Okay, I'll look it up in the book.
Yeah.
Forget where it is. Oh, there we go.
I love bards. And the entertainer background, piece of equipment, musical instrument, of course, the favor of an admirer, a love letter, a lock of hair, or a trinket. Whose hair am I carrying?
It's one of those things that people used to do all the time in the olden days that now just kind of seems a little weird.
A little bit off. A little bit off.
Yeah, I'm just going to carry around this person's hair. Totally normal. So, Kyra, you look like you're pretty much done.
Think
Is that
so?
right?
Probably yes.
Yeah, you got your weapons, your second wind, your fighting style, all your gear. Woo.
Oh, where's my
yeah.
encumbrance limit?
Ah, right. Let's turn on variant encumbrance. There we go. So you can be unencumbered with your strength score times 5 pounds. So 18 times 5 is unencumbered. 18 times 10 is lightly encumbered. 18 times 15 is max carry.
Right.
Yeah. And heavily encumbered. So when you're encumbered as you are right now, your speed will go down by 5. So you'll just be a little bit slower walking around. Or you don't have to carry 10 torches on you all the time and 20 pounds of food. You don't really need to carry 20 pounds of food most of the time. So you can just like uncheck those if you don't want to be carrying them with you. We'll just like consider anything unchecked to be in your house. Much of the campaign will be based in and around your canyon. So it'll be pretty easy most of the time to be like, well, we're just out for the afternoon or out for the day. I don't need to bring my bedroll and my mess kit.
I think the entire adventurer's kit is unnecessary.
Yes.
I feel like Arcana is not going to be super useful, right? As a proficiency?
Why would you say that?
Because it's like a low magic world for the most parts. I feel like, or maybe it's fine. I don't know. Like, I feel like the other ones that I can choose from are more useful. Like deception, insight, persuasion.
Okay. But don't you want to get to know yourself?
I do,
Understand
yeah.
where
Like
you
story-wise,
came
it makes a lot of sense.
from?
Well, I'll pick it for that
do you want to
reason
build
then.
your character for story, or do you want to build your character for efficiency?
Well, it's kind of, I don't know. I think for the most part for role-playing, I think, I could be wrong. Although I also don't want to be useless. But I think Arcana would make sense for me to be something that I would want to learn about and look into and know more about. But I also have, at the same time, don't have like a super high intelligence. So I don't know if I'm going to be good at it. Or...
These are the choices that will affect your character's entire life that you have to make very early on. Isn't it wonderful?
No, I don't know. Okay. I think that's it then. I need to add the weapon proficiencies though. So I'll just add those, I guess.
Yeah, you can just add those. That's fine.
Do
Looks
I
like you've
search
got
for those
all
or
the
add them?
You can search and drag and drop them from the compendium usually, or manually put them in. To be honest, you could completely skip it and it would be fine because we can always look it up in the book. It's sort of nice to have on your character sheet, but it rarely comes up in game. But if you're one of those everything needs to be complete sort of people, like I know I am, it might be nice to put them in.
I'm just a pretty forgetful person, so it's good if I have it written down somewhere.
Okay.
I totally agree. I like keeping everything on the sheet as I can, like as much
Nice.
as possible.
Nice.
Does weapon proficiencies not count as tool proficiencies? Or... Okay, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, because tools will be stacked with a specific stat, so you'll roll the proficiency plus a stat, and the weapon proficiencies have no associated rules.
Okay.
So let's see. Looks like Tristel is geared up.
Yeah. I get leather armor and a dagger, and then an additional rapier, simple weapon, or longsword. So I'm doing double daggers.
Love it. Love it. Okay, and you've got your spells and your background and your racial stuff. Your stats are all filled out. Click through here real quick. Tristel and Kyra, on the bio page, there's like a age, size, height, weight, eyes, skin, hair. Do fill that out. Really, the height and weight is the only thing I specifically care about. The other ones are, nice, but whatever.
I couldn't find the darts and the slings, but I don't think I've ever heard or seen of that being a thing in your campaigns anyway, so...
Darts and slings?
Yeah.
Right. So darts are generally not what we think. When most people hear dart, we think like throwing dart, like at a dartboard. But when we talk about darts in game, we're talking about like addles, like old school mini javelins that have like a little thrower that you hurl. They're large and awkward and primitive weapons that ancient cavemen used to hunt mammoths.
Okay.
So probably not what you would be wanting to use.
No, probably not.
Yeah.
I'm guessing I probably don't even need to add those.
Yeah.
I guess, is that it then before doing spells and cantrips?
Let's see.
Oh, and equipment, I suppose.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't
sorry,
see any
I'm
gear
slow.
on you.
Yeah.
You're gonna need some stuff. You need a little materialism in your life.
Yes.
And then once we have these last things worked out, we're going to talk a little bit about rules and stuff, but I think we can take a short break in between these two tasks.
Oh, do you want to take a break now, or?
Oh, we can do it now, or we can wait for you to finish up your stuff, and then we'll
Okay.
break and talk about these things.
It's whichever for me, but if someone wants to go for a bathroom break or whatever, we might as well break.
Yeah, let's do it then.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Great. I guess we'll be back in, I don't know, how long do we do breaks? 5?
5-ish?
5-ish.
Say
Okay.
5 and then actually take
Yeah.
7?
All right.
Nice.
Sounds good. All right, we're back. There we go. We're back live. Autumn, you don't have a camera. There's no. There we go. Hell yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Let's talk about a couple of house rules. 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons is a very well-built system, but we're going to add some granularity to it and make a couple of adjustments that just sort of fit with the world a little bit better. The first one is pretty small. Spears and javelins are going to have the finesse tag when used in melee. So if you want to use a spear or a javelin, you can use your dex instead of your strength when you're in melee. Because, well, big fan of old samurai movies, and if you see them, they're really incredible with their spears, and that is not strength, that is all dex. So spears and javelins, totally allowed to use dex in melee, but not thrown. Second, Freya had mentioned wanting a little bit more of an interesting positional combat system where where your AC is a little bit more discrete. As it stands, written in 5th edition, your AC is the same no matter what. So if you don't wear any armor, but you have 18 dex, you have 14 AC. And if you get knocked unconscious, you still have 14 AC. Even though 4 of that comes from your ability to dodge. So we're going to do away with some of those things. Your AC is going to be a little bit more discrete. You always have your base of 10. You're always going to have any armor that you're wearing. You're always going to have any magical buffs that apply to you. But your dexterity bonuses and your shield or anything else like this is going to be situational. So if you are like restrained or held or incapacitated or you're like stuck in a web, you're not going to get your dex to your modifiers because you can't actually dodge out of the way. Same thing with the shield. If you are surprised or restrained or incapacitated, your shield doesn't really help you. Similarly, with shield, if you're grappled or like grappling with someone, you don't get your shield modifier. You can still get your dex because you can, even while you're holding someone, you can dodge around a little bit, but your shield is going to be stuck either on the outside or helping as much as it's hurting. There are going to be a couple of other sources of AC that will apply to one of these things. Like there's a fighting style that gives you a bonus to your AC, and we'll count that as shield AC because it's going to act a lot like a shield. It's your skill-based defenses. And defensive duelist will also go to your shield. If you have cover from an enemy, that's going to act as armor AC, so that'll apply no matter what. I've sent you guys a little document on this. Most of them are pretty obvious, so we won't spend too much time on this. If you have people in front of you, and someone's shooting at you with a bow, then the people in front of you will act as cover. If there's like one rank of creatures before you, it's half cover. If there's 2 ranks of creatures, it's 3/4 cover. If there's 3 ranks of creatures, it's full cover.
How does that? What is the ruling if someone attacks you while you're behind someone in cover and they miss? Is there a chance that they're going to hit the person who, quote unquote, is the cover? Or
I think we'll just do that on like rolls of natural ones. Otherwise, it gets too complicated and too many dice rolls and bogs down combat. But if you are in cover and someone rolls a 1 against you, then we can have them like make an attack roll against the person in front of you. That seems like a fair way of going about it.
okay.
Holding your breath and suffocation. We're going to use the basic rules, except adding if you are exerting yourself, the time you can hold your breath is cut in half. So if you're just calmly holding your breath, you can use the full, I think it's 1/3 your con score in minutes. If you are actively doing something while holding your breath, it's just cut in half because it should slow down. That should reduce the amount of time you can hold your breath. Movement rules that we're going to change. You can dash once per round, regardless of sources. As it's written, I think in the 5th edition books, if you have an extra form of dash, like maybe you're a rogue who can bonus action dash, you are just faster than everybody by 50% no matter what, because you can move, action dash, bonus action dash, and that's a little ridiculous. So we're going to say 1 source of dash unless you have the Expeditious Retreat spell, which adds some fancy fun stuff. This won't really change most things. It's a very rare situational modifier, mostly as a balancing act for rogues, which we don't have in this party, but it's good to be aware of.
I do have the feline agility, though. Although I think that's... So as far as I know, a dash is you spend the time that you otherwise would have spent fighting running, right? You're not like actually faster or something.
Right. Instead of taking an attack, you take a move.
Yeah, I think the feline agility doubles my actual speed for 1 round.
When you move on your turn in combat, you can double your speed until the end of the turn. You can't use this trait until you can use it again. Okay, so this actually doubles your speed. It doesn't give you an extra dash.
Yeah.
So if you were to use feline agility, you could move and dash at double speed, and you could go, 60 and 60, 120 feet in a round instead of just the regular 60 on a move and a dash. But you can't use it again until you move 0 feet on one of your turns. So you can't use it to really escape. You can just get like a little bit of a burst of speed every now and then. Cool. Swimming. Swimming is hard when you wear stuff. If you have ever been in a swimming pool and like had a weight on you or like tried to carry something into a swimming pool, you sink really fast. So the amount of gear that you can carry and still swim is going to be heavily limited. This is a little bit hard because like, if you're carrying a stick and it weighs 3 pounds but it floats in the water, we're not going to count that. It's going to be like a balancing act to figure out what's floating gear and what's sinking gear, but it'll be based on your strength score, and it's just going to be really hard to swim with stuff. So don't jump into any deep water when you're carrying a lot of things. Don't jump into any deep water when you're wearing armor. Please. I don't want to drown you. Some very light changes on light. We're just reducing the amount of light that a campfire sheds, so it's not like I have a candle and I can see 30 feet away, because that's just ridiculous. Everyone in the world is illiterate unless specifically stated otherwise. Literacy is at a low point, and most people don't need it. So the bard might be literate because you're traveled far and wide. And maybe the fighter. Maybe, because you're like in charge of the town in certain ways. But like everybody else is going to be illiterate. And maybe not the fighter. I don't know. How do you feel
Yeah, I feel
about
if
literacy?
there's a mayor, then the mayor should be literate. But if I'm just the sheriff and not the mayor, then I don't think I would be literate. I would just like follow the orders of the mayor.
Perfect. We can do either a mayor or a council for your town, and I was going to let you guys decide. Do you have a preference on single town leader or group of leaders?
Metagaming, I feel like a single leader would be easier to deal with, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Love it.
it might make sense since it's like so small too.
Perfect. And the last rule is we're going to use the variant resting, which is a short rest is 1 night and a long rest, 1 night of resting, and a long rest is a week of downtime. But we're going to add some granularity to that to kind of help define those things. And we're going to add 3 classes below that of resting. So the first thing, the long rest, is 7 days, 8 nights of downtime where you're resting your mind, your body, and your spirit. You're not engaging in like a chess tournament. You're not like going out and doing push-ups. You know, you're not engaging in things that will tax you. If this period of rest gets broken up, I've written some things that'll explain how to like elongate the rest to make up for it. So if you are taking a week's rest, but then you get into like 1 5-minute engagement, we'll just add a couple of days to your long rest. Not a big. What was normally a short rest is going to be called a good rest. This is a situation in which a character gets optimal sleep. Their environment is warm, dry, and comfortable. This is usually achieved by the comfort of an inn or at your home or like camping in a safe location with appropriate gear. If you get a good rest, we're going to do a little bit of changes here. You can regain 1 hit die worth of HP. So instead of like having a pool of hit dice that fill and then you spend every night, you can just re-roll 1 hit die to gain hit points. No storing these things up and then all of a sudden going from 0 to 100 hit points in a single night. And then this also regains all of your abilities that normally recharge on a short rest. So our healing will be a little bit slower than normal. The new category that we're adding below this is a rough rest. This is a situation in which a character, you kind of like sleep for the night, but your sleep is lacking. Maybe like you're out in the woods and there's weird noises and you keep waking up, or you're like keeping watch because monsters might be coming, or like the weather's kind of crap and you're cold or you're damp or something. In this situation, you don't really get any penalties and you don't really get any bonuses. You just pass the night and it's fine. The next one is no sleep. This is if you're resting, but you're like alert. You're trying to stay awake all night, but you're not doing anything strenuous. It can be difficult, as we all know, just to stay up all night, especially when you don't have a bright screen pumping pure information into your eyes all night long. So there will be a willpower check, a wisdom check in order to stay awake for the whole night. If you do manage to stay awake for the whole night without any problems, you'll suffer 1 level of exhaustion. And the last category we're adding is negative rest. This is where you're like, screw it, we're not sleeping, we're hiking, let's go. And in this situation, you don't need a check because you're being active, but you're going to suffer 2 levels of exhaustion for this. Yeah, and those are our house rules for us. I threw in a document, basically what I've said in the Discord, so you can reference it anytime, and I'm sure it'll find its way onto the wiki at some point.
How does the how does it work with spell slots and resting? Because is it only long rests that, like the week of downtime?
For sorcerers and for bards, you both get all of your spells back, all your spell slots back on a long rest. So if you use your spell slots, you'll need like a week of downtime to regain them.
It seems like such a long time.
This is mostly a pacing change, because 5e rules as written is you're expected to have like 4 or 5 encounters a day, and then the next day have 4 or 5 encounters, and then the next day have 4 or 5 encounters. By breaking it up, it's going to be like you have 4 or 5 encounters in a week, and then we'll have 4 and 5 encounters a week. We're just stretching out the pacing of it. So things take days rather than hours and minutes. In the end, it'll be about balanced. It'll be the same number of encounters per long rest, basically. But you'll get your HP back a little bit faster. Any other questions, comments, criticisms?
Sounds great.
Love it. Great. So, are we all good on character sheets? I think Pearl just needs to add some gear, but otherwise, and some spells.
Are we allowed to view other people's character sheets?
That's up to the other people. I have no problem with that, but I don't know if someone wants to like keep secrets on their character sheets and not show you.
I think it's fine for my part, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, me too.
No secret lies being spread between the part. You can just PM me the things you don't want people to know. We'll keep our secrets that way.
Perfect.
You know, yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about town and your backstories. I had this idea, and we don't have to go with this, that we've already mentioned Freya's character, the Tabaxi, Pearl, is a little bit of a social outcast, but the bard who has been traveling through is probably the most accepting person in the entire town, has seen all sorts of things, is herself a non-human character, and I would expect the two of you to probably know each other or be friendly towards each other if you're hanging out in this town, possibly as Pearl's only friend or closest
Possibly,
friend.
yeah.
How does that sit with you guys? Is that comfortable? Do you want to be like, the Tabaxi's dumb, I don't like her?
No, I mean, I think that sounds like a good way for me to like not just be rejected by the entire town.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely see my character as one. Like I know everyone. You know, the bard knows all the people.
Exactly. Great.
I guess it would sort of depend on like, because I had this like, my backstory was sort of the one that I had in mind was that the person who was like essentially my mother who took care of me, like living in the forest, or at least that's what I thought, or planned. I was thinking that she would have a noble background, as in she has a noble family, but she chose to not live that life and rather moved out into the forest to do hunting because that was like her passion. But I'm guessing that might not work if there's no like, I don't know, if there are no nobles or civilization nearby. Maybe that's weird.
What if she moved out when the kingdom fell?
That is probably a good solution to go here. As the war dragged on, nobles would have been recruited to the ranks. She would have maybe like come out to the canyon, either because she didn't want to fight in the war or because other members of her family had gone off. Maybe her own home was damaged or ruined and she came here to live somewhere, and then you show up and she's like, well, I've got this obligation now. Look, there's this little cat. I gotta raise the kitty. I can't go back and fight that war. That's ridiculous.
Do Tabaxi look like cats when they're like very young? I guess they would, kind of.
I mean, you're the only one. You get to decide.
Yeah, I suppose.
You can decide however you want.
Because like, what if you just take in this cat and then they just grow very large, and like
you think it's just a normal feral cat, and then one day it's like, meow, hi, mom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
But yeah, so I mean, I made my character art and all assuming that background, like, so. Well, like, because that was why I had glasses on my character, because I thought that, well, I mean, that would be possible if I had a, noble background where Lydia would have the money and maybe resources for that, or used to, maybe not anymore. And I don't think I would need to like take part in that in terms of like, oh, Lydia's rich and I'm rich because Lydia gives me money. Like, I don't imagine that would be the situation at all. But we don't have to do that, and you can still take away my glasses. I'm still going to be a little grumpy about it, but...
I think it's going to be a buff to you in the long run, because your glasses are going to get messed up, and they're not going to have a replacement source, and you don't want to be like working with disadvantage on all perception checks because your glasses are scratched or broken. I think it would probably be a nerf to your character to allow you to be glasses wearing.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to take disadvantage on all your perception checks because you need corrective lenses and your glasses are like really badly scratched and stepped on by an orc, like, we can roll with that.
Maybe I get advantage to perception if it's really close, but disadvantage if it's really far away. That's how my glasses work right now, so... Okay. Anyway, we can go either way with that. I just thought it was kind of a fun dynamic to like have Lydia take care of me, and I'm essentially her daughter. But like the dynamic between Lydia and the family would be kind of awkward because like I imagine that it would be sort of like an open secret within the noble family that there's this weird cat there, but they sort of don't really talk about it that much or whatever, something like that. But
well, I wonder how much of her family is still left if you guys have been sort of isolated in this place. Yeah.
Doesn't have to
maybe
be
there
a lot
was
at all.
some communication. Maybe there were some family members visiting years ago, but that has the separation between you guys has increased over time. Maybe you have like heard of or even met some family members that live in some far off town that you haven't yet visited, and in theory might still be around. We can run with that. Great. So
maybe I'm for the wrong noble family. So even if I were to use my like noble last name, people are not gonna think well of me. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Like
So it doesn't have to be like
houses.
an advantage or whatever. Yeah, exactly. The wrong house.
Oh, McGarry.
Hey.
So, Miss Sheriff, how old are you?
I rolled for it and I immediately forgot it.
Excellent. You want to roll for it again?
Put it down. How do I get back there? I'm 26.
Okay.
Rolled a 1.
26. And you have at least one younger sibling, right?
Yes.
What do
She
you...
is, say 22?
Okay. 22-year-old sister, it sounds like?
Yep.
Any other siblings or important family members you want to declare? We can fill in some of these things a little bit later. We don't have to figure it all out right now, but get a good base.
I don't think so now.
Okay.
Not sure what's up with my mother. No idea if she's still alive or not. Yeah, I think she's still alive, hanging out with my dad, chilling in retirement.
Okay, you got your mom and dad are still around. Lovely. Mom, dad, sister. So you guys would be well known throughout the town. The village, town, whatever, is probably population 400 or 500 people. So you would know pretty much everybody by face, by sight. Even if you don't know everyone's name, you might recognize their faces, and everyone would probably know you and your name. As the chief law enforcement officer, everyone's real friendly with you, regardless of what they actually think about you. But everyone likes you because no one wants to piss off the sheriff, right? So you'll probably be in the good graces of people. You can probably get, favors pulled for you from time to time. And if there is building resentment against you, you won't know about it until there are farmers on your doorstep with pitchforks and torches. Yeah, just as a heads up over here.
Right.
But you would also know all the important people. You would have a working personal relationship with the mayor and the cleric in town. You would also know quite a bit about the mines of this area. And this is where I would like to direct our attention to the map. So we'll see that our town is built in this canyon. The walls go up, and on various levels there are boardwalks all over the place with stairways leading between them. All of the houses are built into the walls of this canyon. So everyone basically lives underground, but has like a little outdoor area. The boardwalks are shared between all and considered public spaces. And most of the houses are built into like old mine shafts because they'll dig in, they'll mine until they get everything out they need. They'll close the door, they'll board up the tunnel and then move on. And then if someone needs a new house, hey, here's a mine shaft. I'll just like take down this wall, put up a new wall and whatnot. Some 15, 18 years ago, the mining headquarter building had a fire in it. and all the old maps and charts of all the old mines burned down.
Oh no.
And so now all these homes, many of these homes have like old mine shafts through them, and no one really knows where they go. You've built up walls, so you just live in your house, but in theory, there could be like 1.5 miles of tunnels behind your wall, and you just wouldn't know about it. And that's just kind of how it is. So lots of mines, most of them boarded up. Y'all live in them and come outside to live on the doorsteps. We're also going to have some limited agriculture here. So you live in this canyon. So you do a lot of hunting of wild animals that live in the forest up the canyon. You graze alpacas and llamas. You use them as for wool as well as for food. The alpacas are the food and wool, and the llamas carry your food, I think. I think I'm getting my order here mixed up. So the llamas are like your beasts of burden instead of donkeys. There aren't really any horses because in the canyon there's no place to keep them. Folks will store their animals in their houses at night rather than like having pens because it's a little bit dangerous out here. And your primary food sources are like potatoes, onions, cabbages, mixed greens, and grains. And there's like a local mill to grind the grains. So we've got a little bit limited in terms of food sources, definitely limited in terms of spices, but it's a fairly safe, happy place. Oh, additionally, there's apple trees as a primary fruit source. All of these little red dudes are apple trees everywhere.
Free outside my house.
Yeah.
Free apples.
Yeah. And you got some, what do they call them? Pillories right here for people who do crimes. They can put their head in the arms in here and, be stationed on the walkway so everyone can walk by and see that they've done terrible things. Yeah. I mentioned before that there is... Oh, yes, go ahead.
I was just wondering how interconnected is the underground area? Like, is there, if you want to go up to a higher level, do you usually go into a mine, then go around and up, or like, is it mostly
you stay
just
on
like
the outside?
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I think all the buildings are single story. You just go deeper if you want more space. You don't want to accidentally burrow up or down and run into somebody else's house.
Right.
Yeah. Each floor of the canyon is about 15 feet tall. So the distance from here to here is 15 feet, but the distance from like up here to down here is 30 feet. So if there's a situation where you fall, if you fall 1 floor, you take d6 damage. If you fall 2 floors, you take 3d6 damage. 3 floors, you'll take 4d6 damage. And yeah, we will have a much larger map. This is just a quick little sampling of it that will stretch on for about a quarter mile or so. And yeah, we'll pick houses for you guys and everything. Freya, you definitely live on the outside of town. Your house is way over there. Kyra, you are... This is the sheriff's like office station. Your house can be kind of wherever you want. You're an older family. You can live wherever. Tristel, you're a newcomer here. Where do you live? There's an old hotel that isn't really used anymore because there's no people that come by. You might be like the one person staying in the hotel.
The
Maybe
permanent resident in the hotel. I like that.
Yeah?
Entertainer.
Okay, that'll work well.
Oh, that's
It's
yeah,
this,
that's
like,
good.
Ancient building. Used to be filled with people when they came and gone, but now that it's been abandoned for a while, the old married couple still operates it and has enough resources from way back when that they can keep going and probably offers some services and whatnot. And you'll be the one patron in the hotel.
If there's a fancy cocktail bar downstairs, I can I can throw in my services for free. For the many people who frequent it.
Absolutely. How long have you been here? Are we talking months, years, days? Probably not days.
Not days, more than months. I'd say maybe under a year or close to that, where I've kind of been staying here a while. I've been here a bit. I stopped by and I haven't really gone on.
Okay. Are there any important relationships that you've developed in this town, you think?
Not sure.
Okay.
I'd say any vendor I probably have a good relationship with, just because I'll probably try and flirt and persuade to get good prices on things.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there anyone that you say? Do you have any character or personality traits that might affect your working relationship with the townspeople, aside from being friendly and flirting with vendors? Like, are you spiteful to red-haired people, or, looking to get involved with the mayor's children or something like that?
What's our is there any like water sources nearby?
Yeah, there is a river that flows through the canyon, not quite on this map yet, and that is the primary water source. I think it comes along the southern edge of the canyon, usually, and people will just go down, fill up water, and then carry it back to their houses in the old-fashioned way.
I see. I think I do have a thing against like sailors, or like boys on water problem. They're nothing but trouble.
The boys on the water?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've probably had my heart broken once or twice, or several times.
So is it like they're a problem because you like them and they're not good for you? Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
precisely.
that kind of relationship.
Got it. So since the bard has come to town, the boys have taken to the water after they've realized that, like, oh, the new bard from out of town, she's hot and she is in let's make a boat. Let's all hang out on boats now. And maybe there's some sort of interesting relationship with them and this, because you're the out of towner, which I'm sure is bound to draw a lot of attention and attraction from the folks here.
Yeah, how much do the people here know about the rest of the world? Is everybody fairly isolated, or do some people still... Right, okay.
No, everyone pretty much just chills in the town. I think after the Empire fell, there would have been some folks who left the town to go see what was going on, and most of them didn't return. And so people just said, well, it must be dangerous out there. It's not here. Let's live a good life rather than trying to see what's going on. So there hasn't been a lot of like outward attention because it's dangerous, and also you don't want to bring back trouble. You don't want to be the person who like leaves your village, gets captured by bandits, and the bandits like, where are you from? I look at these clothes, they're in good shape, we want your shit. So I think there's a lot of isolation here. And...
I feel like Tristel should be like a celebrity at that point in this town, right? Like Tristel pulls in like, the tavern went from like one customer to like having like 16 people sit there and listen to stories, sort of.
I think this is absolutely true.
Facts. A star.
As a local celebrity, you will have a great many potential suitors. How have you handled such things in this town?
It's a good question. I think keep them all as potential suitors. They're all callers. They're all like I think probably using that to my advantage, like keeping them at bay. Like no, I mustn't. But can continue with your affections.
Yes. Okay. I think I have pretty good information on your backstories. Is there anything someone wanted to interject that hasn't had an opportunity to interject it yet?
I don't...
Kyra, you look like you're about to say something.
How long has Pearl been in town? Because I feel like if she just showed up, then that's one role-playing dynamic. But if she's been there for like 5 or 10 years, then that's another dynamic.
She's definitely been here most of her life.
Okay.
Probably upwards of like 18 years. I don't know exactly how old you wanted to be, Pearl.
I think I was like between 22 to 26, because like I wouldn't know my age, but...
Right.
Because like I write here, I think I had it in the document. I need to do the math to figure out. Because if I came here when I was around 5 years old, and now I'm somewhere between 22 and 26, that would turn it out into some time.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess it depends on like where Lydia would live, right? Because I would stay with her for the most part.
Right. So let's say you've been here for about 18 years. You probably grew up in Lydia's place.
Yes.
And then at some point, it became more convenient for you to get a place of your own. As we see with these boardwalks, everyone sort of shares a front porch with everyone else. And, you're going to be really close with all of your neighbors because you all share space together, all the outside space. And I think some incident must have happened where you accidentally created like a fireball and blew something up. And the local neighbors got really pissed, and either you or your mom volunteered to move you out to one of these like abandoned mine shafts up the canyon a little bit, so you're a little bit further away from everyone. So grew up with her in the middle of town, and then some years ago, when you felt comfortable taking care of yourself, moved out to a new location.
Yeah,
Will
sounds
that
good.
work? Okay, great. So that will put you around 23 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And half elf, how old are you?
I put like 25. I just thought that was like a decent number. Like I've lived and seen things.
Okay. 23, 26, and 25.
Wait, how does age work for half-elves? Because elves live for a very long time, right? But I don't know about half-elves.
About twice as long as humans, roughly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they have a similar maturing growth rate. Humans mature roughly around 18. Well, mature around 18, right? Big air quotes on that one. I think half-elves take like, until 20, 21, 22, just a few extra years. But then they live a lot longer.
All right.
Yeah. Is anyone dating anyone? Any actual... We've talked about Tristel's dating life.
Yes.
The other two of you dating anyone?
I
Married?
mean, I think
have
it would
children?
be very hard for me to date anyone at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would just like hang out on my own, maybe have a cat if cats exist, because I feel
Yes, you
a
can have a
strange
cat.
familiarity with these creatures.
I think as a sheriff, I can't afford to be in any relationships or pursue that at all.
Ooh. So you're like, my job comes first. Can't. Agreed.
Or is that like a cover? Like that's what you tell people, but in reality you actually want a relationship? Or
Maybe, yeah.
Aww.
Excellent. When
You're
it
in a
comes to-
relationship with the law.
that's so cursed.
When it comes to the more romantic side of role-playing, if you notice my cheeks turning bright red and me stumbling with my words and seemingly awkward, it's because I'm very uncomfortable. And that's fine. You can exploit that to get whatever you want, but if things go too far, we'll just fade to black. We don't need to go into the details of like how you caress someone's face when you're making out with them. I have a hard time with that, guys.
Oh my.
Yeah, say.
It's very... Whew.
I mean, Ashley already turned red, and so even just talking about this, so...
Wait a minute, I'll this camera.
We are using a medieval world, but we're really just using like medieval tech and most society things in terms of gender roles and sexual orientations. We're going to use more of a modern world. So you're the sheriff, you're a woman, no one gives a shit. It's not a big deal, right? And you guys can date men, you can date women, whatever. No one cares. We're not going to be using that level
even.
of medieval oppression on people. We will use class oppression, though. So if you do run into like some fancy nobles, they're still, think that they're better than you and can arrest you for whatever they want. That'll still be around. Cool. Okay. Let's talk a little bit more about your canyon. We've already kind of mentioned that you all live in these holes and you've got all these fancy boardwalks. Your canyon runs east-west. The east side of the canyon is the older side. That's where people first moved in and first developed. All of the like older buildings are that way. The west end of the canyon is like the upriver end of the canyon, and is sort of the newer constructions. If you go far enough west, you will leave the canyon and enter a forest, beyond which there is like a tall mountain that you can see. So from your canyon, if there's a clear view, you can see like a mountain beyond a forest way, way, way up there. That area is kind of dangerous. Outside of the canyon, you find this redwood forest, which is not safe. There are monsters in there, and there are weird sounds that come from the woods, and people generally leave that area alone. But up the canyon, it's mostly like Douglas firs or other types of coniferous trees all over the place, and is generally fairly safe. The nature of the village does make it easily defendable because you got to come up or down. You can't really go over the sides very well, and that makes a lot of easy choke points for you guys. Canyon has some like built-in defenses for it. To the east is a plain in which sits a ruined city that was destroyed by some sort of invading army 20 years ago or so. And beyond that is the ocean. And for everyone except for the elf and the half elf in the party, that's pretty much all you know. Is out the canyon there's plains and then an ocean, and that whole part of the world's ruined and not worth exploring and super dangerous. We'll get into what the half elf knows a little bit later. We'll leak that information slowly.
What part of the canyon is the thing we're looking at now, where the sheriff's office and the temple is?
This is the middle of the canyon, the
Okay.
very middle. Yeah. Oh, this map doesn't have the bridges. There are bridges connecting different sides of the canyon. Somehow they didn't make it on this version that I gave here. Yeah, there are walkways to get up and down between the various levels, and then there are a bunch of bridges that cross from like the first level to the first level, or the third level to the third level, or the second to second. There's a huge bridge right next to the temple that crosses from second level to second level. The finalized map will have all these.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything notable about the north fork of the canyon, or is that just more canyon?
That is more canyon that doesn't really have much of an exit. It narrows and eventually just becomes impassable, like waterfall coming down. Whereas the west fork of the canyon slowly opens up until you're on flat level ground or level-ish ground. Okay. Any other world questions that you guys may have for us? Facts, figures, people?
I presume like most
monsters?
of us wouldn't know that much about this world apart from Tristel, right?
Yeah. Not the outer world, but the local area, you would all be fairly well familiar.
Mm-hmm. So the like day-to-day hunting, for instance, in this town would take place in the was that to the east or just along the canyon?
Probably mostly to the west, but also there are a couple of forks that come in, so you would go west and head up this fork or head up that fork. Maybe heading out to the edge of the redwood forest, but not really delving in too far. And I think most of the game you would catch would be pretty small. If you can find like a bear or a deer, that would be considered a really good day and a really good haul. But mostly it's like, rabbits and bunnies and squirrels and soft, cute, fuzzy things.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Should I watch out for hunters? Like, it's dangerous for me to be in those parts of the forest at night.
Maybe, but like all the hunters know you, and you
Okay,
are
good.
A white fluffy cat person.
Yes.
And I think that it's a color that stands out quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Do I have like disadvantage because I'm
Not quite.
Okay, good.
So let's talk a little bit more about relationships here. Tristel and Kyra. How do you guys work out? Because Kyra, she's a newcomer, and newcomers are potentially dangerous. They might bring the outside war-torn world to your home. So how do you feel about this stranger on your doorsteps who's been here for about a year? Is she cool or is she a threat?
So I think I definitely keep an eye on her. Still classified as an outsider in my eyes. Not super trusted, like as a normal citizen, but I don't distrust her. If that makes sense.
Okay. And the other way around, Christelle, how do you feel about the sheriff of the town? This untrusting lass.
I think as a bard, I'm probably I don't know, in like my general demeanor, like maybe flirting with every person that crosses my way. I've probably given her a bit of a reason to distrust me a little, so I think I'm aware of like how I'm perceived. But overall, just kind of like a you've got your eye on me, I've got my eye on you kind of thing.
That's great. What is the reason you gave her to distrust you? Tell me about an incident.
An incident. Okay, I see the scenario of me probably flirting to get a cheaper price on like these apples or something, and maybe trying to like sneak a little something extra. Not like something super big, but like a petty crime level stuff of me just using my persuasion and like a little bit of deception. Probably getting called out on that. Or at least that being seen and like, oh, my bad. This is an extra one. I didn't mean to grab it.
See.
Or I have an idea. You can reject this if you want. What if you were like trying to flirt with one of my childhood friends that I'm very protective of?
Yes.
I see. The childhood friend who's the vendor, and she's like ripping him off. Got it.
Or just, the very insincere flirting. Like I like this childhood friend, like they're very earnest in their emotions, and I'm like, oh, you're just another suitor. Huh? You don't want your friend to get their heart broken. We'll stay away.
And what instrument did you pick, out of curiosity?
A harp.
Harp. Like a mini harp, right? Not like a full-sized harp that you're carrying around. Okay.
Yeah, like a small one.
Music is going to be pretty scarce here. There might be drums. Those are easy to make, but not a lot of other instruments. So I think you having a harp and being able to play is one of those things that has attracted people to you. One of the only valid entertainers around, aside from... Well, no, you're the one with prestidigitation, so definitely, yeah. Excellent.
I saw chat correcting me that it's a lyre. Lyre is the name of the small harp.
Okay. Cool.
Tiny harp aesthetic.
Pearl. We've mentioned over and over again about how you're sort of a social outcast, but surely you must have some friends, right? You've made friends, it sounds like, with Tristel, but like, who are you closest to aside from your mom? Is there anyone in town that you consider a friend?
I think my idea was that I would like arrive in town at the beginning of the campaign, but if I've been here for a while, I guess I would need to think about it for a little bit. Because I imagine that like, I think the thing that is pulling me out from, just being a hermit is that I think I'm still deeply curious about things and I want to get to know like how the world works, why I'm here even. So I think I would want to try to reach out to people, but I think I would also be like scared of anyone who's judgmental, I suppose. And I would be very careful with who I talk to, I think. So either I'm like careful with who I talk to, or I talk to the people that I have to talk to out of like necessity. So like, I don't know, like people who are just trading goods or whatever, I would probably have to talk to them to like get groceries if that's a thing you do. Yeah. Or maybe, I think a part of growing up with Lydia though was that like Lydia's a hunter, so I imagine I might know other hunters, and I think maybe that's a good place to start. Like I know other hunters because I maybe help them out hunting, because that's a thing I've done before. So whoever of these people who would like trust me to help out, I suppose.
Great. Will you roll me 3 charisma checks. We'll just see what your relationship is like with these hunters.
All right. Let's see.
You can just click the charisma text on your character.
Okay, 3
right
of them?
above the 3.
Or... Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god, so strong. Okay.
Oh, I don't like that it rolls both dice. I don't like
You
that.
can set it to roll only 1 if you'd rather.
Never roll advantage. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. So 24, 15, 15. So you have made a pretty good impression on most of the hunters, and some of them have a deep-seated respect for your abilities. That doesn't necessarily mean they're like super friendly with you, but they understand that, you know, your ability to prowl the night and see in the dark is hugely advantageous for these people who have really crap. You have dark vision, right? I'm assuming.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So you being able to see at night and to be able to help them find their way home when it's too late is really clutch. You don't necessarily want to be the person walking around under torchlight because that'll draw attention. And if there are monsters in the area, which sometimes happens, it's not entirely safe place. That's a good way to draw them to you.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see how they would really respect your abilities and find you useful.
Yeah, I think that's an easier relationship for me to have with people, because I think anything involving like social stuff would kind of be awkward for me. So I think like more the practical going out and hunting is like easier. Like it would be like completely out of character for me to like, I don't know, go to a tavern and flirting with people. That's like very much not a thing that I would do.
Kyra, we've understand that you're married to the job and you have a working relationship with a lot of people, but you must have at least a few friends in town. Who are your friends? And feel free to more or less spout lore here, as long as you're not inventing, you know, the Archmage Transabob or whatever.
Yeah, I mentioned that childhood friends. I think I grew up with a 3 other childhood friends. Had my own campaign of adventures as a kid with these 3 other. So they're my sort of core friend group. Yeah, I was gonna say something.
What sort of jobs do they do, or what is their life like? What role do they have in society?
I think I was mostly friends with them in my like rebellious phase, and we started to drift apart once I became like super law sheriff person. But we're still good friends. Still sociable. So they're maybe not like super law with me, but maybe one of them is like a farmer. One of them, I don't know what jobs there are in this town.
You would have miners, definitely. There's a lot of good resources to be pulled out of the earth, and so there's a lot of metal gear lying around. You would have, the Miller family is a pretty key group of folks here. You would have hunters, you would have basket weavers, tailors, lots of herders more than farmers, because you've got these like alpacas and these llamas that you need to like take up and down the canyon all the time. Probably tailors, a couple of potters.
I think this fun group was also like super rebellious and aggressive with me. So one of them is a hunter. One of them is a miner who's like super physical mining stuff. And the third one actually did go into law with me and is serving as one of my, I don't know what to call the job, of just like assisting me, helping me take care of the town.
One of your deputies.
Yeah.
Great. So you're not going to have a lot of deputies. You'll probably have 3 at most.
Yeah.
I think that because it's not a big town, there's not a lot of stuff going on, but you do need people to keep watch every night. Someone's got to be awake in case there's a monster coming through in the middle of the night, and you might need help from time to time. So one of your deputies is an old friend of yours. Let's talk about these deputies for a moment. In the event that there was some sort of battle in the town, these deputies can come to your aid, and they will have some fighter type abilities. However, they are not easily replaceable. Should one of your deputies fall in combat, you will just have 2 deputies for the foreseeable future of the campaign. It'll take years to train someone into becoming a capable fighter. You guys are sort of the exception to these rules. So you might want to consider like leaving them in reserve or having them scout out areas and not actually fight, because they're not going to have a lot of HP or armor, and once gone, they're irreplaceable. Just as a heads up.
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
Yeah, just pick 2 skills instead of... Ooh. So you got 2 from level, or 2 from race, 2 from class, and you should get 2 more from background. So whichever 2 you would like. 2 from class, 2 from race. You have 4. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, I keep muting myself because I don't want to have double Ashley going into stream all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about the skills, and yes, I do indeed need 2 more. So I could just pick any of them?
Yeah, any 2. Whatever you want.
Neat. Okay.
Let's do some town generation. We've decided that you guys have a mayor. Who's your mayor? Someone give me a name. Any name.
I mean, given the time it took for us to decide a name for this campaign, I feel like you're asking the wrong people.
Barnaby.
There we
Barnaby. Love it. What a great name. Barnaby the mayor. Okay. And somebody roll me D20. No, I'm sorry, 2D20 plus 20 for Barnaby's age.
Do you want me to roll it? Or
Yeah, go for it.
2d20 plus
Plus 20.
42.
42 years.
Barnaby is a really good name. It's
It's a
Quality.
respectable age for that mayor. Respectable
mayor-
mayor.
Mayorship is handed down generationally from one mayor to the next. Whoever they seem fit doesn't necessarily have to be their children, but usually is their children unless they don't have any. And another super important person in town is going to be the Miller family. We can use Miller as a last name, but who is the head of the Miller family? The head Miller. Kyra. Who's the head Miller?
Oh geez. Oh wait, what's her name? Josephus.
Ooh.
Joe.
That ES at the end?
Josephus.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have a habit of pulling names from other places, so.
Love it. Is this a male or female?
Male.
That's excellent. The cleric in town, the one true healer, sort of a community and spiritual leader of the area who tries to stay out of politics and just tend to the interpersonal connection of people and everyone's spiritual health, and also physical health when things go poorly. The cleric is a well-respected person, probably only actually 2nd level, but still, that's a little bit of magic, and that's pretty amazing. Who is the cleric? Pearl. Who is she or he?
Should the name sound like a cleric name? Do we go
It could be whatever you want. It could be
Annabelle
Joe.
or something? That sounds very
Anne.
Annabelle is very gracious. So
Annabelle?
yes.
I like that.
Love it. Annabelle the cleric. And would you roll me 2d20 plus 20 for Annabelle's age, please? 5. we got quite a few more people to discover for our town here. Do the head miner the foreman is what we'll call them. Foreman, the head of the mine. We will go back to Tristel. What is the foreman's name?
Chester.
Okay, and
Why does
2d20
Chester-
plus 20, please.
Sorry, why does Chester sound like a cat? Is that a cat
Great
name?
cat name.
Okay.
Isn't that
That's
the
absolutely a cat name.
in Wonderland something or other?
Cheshire cat. Very close
Right.
to Chester
Right.
cat. Can I get a 2d20 plus 20 for the Chester's aid? Ooh! 40. Perfect. 40 years.
40.
Excellent. And next on the list is the smithy. As we mentioned before, there's a lot of mines here. You guys pull out mostly coal and iron, but a few other metals here and there. The smith in town is very busy because there's a lot of metal around, a lot of people around. Why not make things out of metal? Why use wood? Let's use metal. But because they're so busy making all these things for town, they don't really have like 3 months to devote to making someone a set of armor, or for example. Still, the smith is a very important person in town. And I believe it's Kyra's turn to tell us who the smith is.
Horst the Smith.
Horse. Excellent.
Horst with a
And-
T at the end, right?
Horst.
Love it. And give me a age roll for Horst.
Yes.
50. People are all super average middle age. Love it. Excellent. Next up is the elderly pair of innkeepers who Kyra lives with. They've ran this inn for a long, long time. They don't have any children of their own. They're just happy that anyone's staying there. They're cute and bumbly and exactly what you would expect from like a couple who's been married for 60 years or so. Freya, what are the innkeepers' names? What's a cute, buddy old couple name?
Okay. One of them can be Greta. Greta. I'm thinking. I'm sorry. I'm bad with names.
That's fine. This is why I'm having you guys name things, because if it was up to me, they would be named like Bob, Frank, Joanne, Lizzie.
How about Eva? What if they're a lesbian old cute little couple that runs the inn?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be neat?
Absolutely love it. What was the other name?
Eva.
Eva. Greta and Eva
I love them so much.
from Vermont. They have a bed and breakfast together.
They're amazing.
One
Their kitchen
of-
is themed like chickens.
just like chickens everywhere, little cutouts.
Too many.
You know what? My friend growing up's kitchen, it was exactly like that. It was chickens and pig cutouts everywhere.
Wait, what does that even mean? What is a chicken cutout? What?
Like a little,
Like a little wooden decoration thing on the wall. Little creamers that are shaped like chickens.
Is that a thing?
Yes.
That's a thing.
I grew up in the South.
I'm very out of the loop. Oh yeah, I guess I'm kind of the only European here, and all of you know all the U.S. things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even I have a vague recognition of chicken shenanigans, even though
Chicken
I grew up
kitchens.
very north.
I'm just deeply confused. Never heard of this.
Chicken kitchens are part of the collective unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other types of kitchens? Like, what are the different animals?
Cows.
Pigs, cows, chickens. Yeah. Farmyard shit.
Yeah, gingham.
Fascinating.
There is also a bath here. One of these mines, once upon a time, accidentally stumbled upon a little crevice that produced warm water. And so you've got these baths on one of the floors that then spill out and falls into a pool of the river and continues on down. But the bathhouse, big, cool location in town that people love to hang out at, is owned and operated by who? Tristel.
What were the names of our innkeepers? I have a name on the
Greta
top of my
and
head.
Eva.
Okay.
Oh, did we roll their age, by the way?
Sherry.
Greta and Eva are in their like 60s or 70s. It's fine. That's it. But Sherry should have an age. How old is she?
Do you want me to roll? Or Autumn is rolling. Okay.
43. All right, we might have to start changing up our dice rolls here because everyone's in their
Same age,
40s.
yeah.
Yeah, but that's fine thus far. Let's see. Ild Inn Baths, the Tavern. So the inn is kind of a cool place and it's got the old couple, but there's also the tavern, and that's where like the beer bar is instead of the cocktail bar. It's sort of a big open outdoor seating on one of the lower levels overlooking the river. Nice lighting, some foliage around, kind of a big space. Who is the bar owner / bartender? I forgot whose turn is it. Is it Kira's turn? Kyra's turn?
Yeah, it's Kyra.
So, Kyra. Who's the bar owner?
Let's go with Selena.
Ooh.
Like that. She sounds like a savvy gal.
Mm-hmm. And you can pick any die roll you want for Selena's age, because we don't need everyone to be in their early to mid 40s.
Let's reduce it. Well,
All right. Also in her 40s. Love it.
Oh my goodness.
The
Amazing.
last person that we have today to work on to build is the owner of the lumber mill. And we are going to use the word mill generously. They still do everything by hand, but they're in charge of planing and all that jazz. Planing and so Pearl, who is the owner of the lumber mill / like major carpenter in the area? There are of course minor carpenters and whatnots.
I imagine something really short. Not like Bob, but Jake. Let's go for Jake. Does that work?
Jake.
Or is that too modern of a name? Is that an old name or a new name? I don't know.
It's fine. We got an Annabelle. We can have a Jake.
Let's go for Jacob, which is a pretty traditional name.
Oh, we can go with Jacob instead. That's better.
yeah, because if we went with Jake, he would have to have been a big dude, so beefy. And...
Yeah,
Beefy Jake.
exactly.
Okay, Jacob the lumber miller. And how old is Jacob?
Do you want me to fudge this roll as well?
Whatever you want.
All right,
Just not something in the 40s. We'll re-roll if it gets in the 40s.
How about if we do? Okay, yeah. If we re-roll, if we get to the 40s, then let's just do the same roll.
Oh, there we go.
That's better. That's not 40s. So.
Not 40s, yeah.
And I think we missed a roll for the miller. So roll me something for the miller. Josephus. Oh, love it. Love it. Okay, so we've got most of our town figured out now. The mayor, the miller, the cleric. the foreman, the smith, the innkeepers, the bath owners, the bartenders, and the lumber millers, plus the sheriff, who we've got here. We should probably know the former sheriff's name. So, Kyra, what's your dad? Who is he?
My dad is Garrow.
Garrow. Can you spell that for me?
Garrow.
And if you are 26 years old, how old is he? What age do you have kids?
He retired, right? So I imagine pretty old.
Oh.
Did not have kids at age 7. I'm gonna beat
Oh,
that.
right. Sorry. I meant to do 1d10 plus 30 plus my age.
Ah, perfect.
Oh,
okay,
right.
so 31 plus your 26 brings us to 57 years old.
Yes. There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Is that an early retirement age? I actually don't know. Like in these medieval times, don't people die pretty early? Or
Well, life expectancy is low because of high infant mortality.
Right,
People would
okay.
still routinely live into their 60s or 70s, but like those were hard without like anti-inflammatories, without modern medicine, with having to work such a hard life. By the time you were 70, you were like done, you know. So
Might be.
57 go ahead.
Might be retired from sheriffing, but he might run like a small farm or something. Just easier work. Maybe farming isn't easy work, but yeah.
Yeah, with the setup of this canyon, everyone sort of grows their own crops. You'll see, especially on the north side of this map, that there's like little plots of land out in front of every building because there's just not a lot of arable farmland. So everyone grows a little bit of something, and everyone takes all of their grains to the mill, and then they'll mill it for you and give you your grain back, and you pay a small fee to them. So everyone kind of manages their own stuff, and maybe like a spot where you've built an extra little farm up the canyon or down the canyon or something. So that's perfect retirement job. Okay. Well, I have everything that we need for the town. Why don't we take one more break, and when we come back, we will try and grab some character tokens, and then I think that will mostly wrap us up. Yeah?
all right, great. Sounds good.
So,
Okay, 5-minute break, 10-minute, 5 minutes ish, somewhere there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll be right back. That is the wrong one. We have too many of us right now on stream.
Oh my.
There we go.
Oh.
we love to see it.
So tokens for our characters. I have a whole bunch that we can use. If you want to make your own or find your own, we can substitute those, no problem. But let's try and find some tokens. So, fighter, you're going to be the easiest one to get a token for. Vaguely describe yourself. You're wearing like scale mail and you're using a sword, right?
Yeah, I can pop up my reference picture. Could I dig that up and maybe go to something else first?
Absolutely. Let's go to Tristel. Am I still pronouncing that right, or am I butchering
Yes,
that?
no, that's correct.
Cool. Half elf bard. What do you look like?
I also have because I have like the sea elf kind of thing going.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking kind of more like silvery blue hair. And then just like, I guess, general appearance, maybe skin, like a little bit that like kind of bluish tint. And clothing. I have leather armor. So just kind of, I don't know, not exactly scantily clad. I mean, we're in kind of like a more temperate environment that I could be a little more scantily clad, but something a little more showy, like with maybe little bells and whistles and things on it.
Okay. Let's see what I can find. unfortunately, tokens are never exactly what we want for our characters, but we can get tokens made. You said light hair, like white or silvery or
Yeah,
bluish?
silvery bluish.
And what is your primary weapon? They're daggers, I believe?
Yeah, double daggers.
Double dagger. Please feel free to fill the void of silence while I look for appropriate.
Oh, you can turn on music, right? Then roll 20.
Yeah.
People are asking for hit points roll.
Oh, normally we will start with max HP at first level. So you will take the max of your hit dice and add your constitution modifier.
I don't know what my hit dice is. Oh wait, it says D6.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so you would do 6 plus your con mod for your max HP at level 1.
6 HP? Oh, jeez.
You know,
What a squish.
you're very tanky, okay?
I have 13 hit points and an AC of 18.
Okay. So I enter the total, and then the current is the big box, right? Okay.
Sounds right.
Oh, my constitution modifier is 0, so I would have 6 health. Is that it?
6 health.
That makes me uncomfortable.
Well, you chose to play a sorcerer.
Well, I don't want to die immediately.
Don't die.
Okay.
Be careful. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Okay. What are the odds that I survive my self-fireball with 6 health?
Very low.
It's
You
incredibly
need 12
low.
damage to kill you.
Yeah.
But you've got high dex, right?
Yeah?
So you'll have a good chance of passing your save to reduce the damage.
Right.
Isn't quite right for our half elf, but this is the first thing that looks even remotely close so far. Bring it on screen. This isn't quite right, but this is what we're looking for so far.
Yay!
There is a dearth of good half elves, it seems. Ooh.
The outfit's very good.
I know you don't have a bow, but this is also somewhere in the same vein. Fortunately, all our half elves have bows. She has tattoos. That might not be quite right.
They're pretty cool sleeves, though.
Mm-hmm. Over.
Yeah, under.
Like a monster. Wish I had a way of sharing with you guys instead of just dropping them one at a time. Okay, I think that's gonna be our choices for you. Oh wait, here's one more.
Ooh.
Yeah, Do any of those speak to you, at least until we can find something more appropriate, if at all?
Yeah, honestly, the first one, I like the kind of fancy dress. Or, I mean, it feels very, like, bardy, dancery.
Mm-hmm.
I dig it.
The other option would be... The last option would be this one. Still the first one? She has like 3 poses though. But that's more of a lute than a harp, so...
Yeah, still the first one.
Perfect. All right. Love it. Now, I don't have a lot in the way of Tabaxi tokens.
I think...
And by not a lot, I mean I have none.
I think my plan... I think I would probably want to draw my own.
Okay.
So I think we would rather look for a pose, and then I can just draw on top of that pose, because it's easier to have a pose reference, I think.
Great.
Yeah, I think I would want to go for something that's like feels vaguely stealthy, because I'm considering subclassing rogue later on. So yeah, maybe rogue things would be good, and then I'll just draw over that.
Perfect.
Something that feels low to the ground and sneaky.
Okay, low to the ground and sneaky. And you are primarily a spellcaster, so weapon is not a concern for us. Or maybe we should find something without a weapon.
Doesn't matter. I'll just draw my actual
Okay.
staff in the thing.
Okay. Something sort of sneaky.
Should I have access to everybody's character sheets?
I don't think you need them. Is there a reason why you...
Yeah, specifically because I want to fill in the overlay. The stats for all of our stats and AC. Or I could just ask all of you what your stats are. And I'll
Yeah,
go
we
in.
could like screen cap that portion and share it in Discord.
That works.
And also to McTacky.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, something like that. That seems sneaky.
Sneaky.
Yeah, the one on the right is really neat. I like that pose. The one on the furthest left, I think, is probably the best one, because I can see the legs and whatnot, and I can just draw over that.
Okay.
Okay.
That seems solid. Who
Could
are
you actually send me that picture? I don't know if you have the PNG, but...
I do.
I think you should be able to save the PNG as well when you go to your character sheet under bio and info. I was able to save mine as a PNG from there.
Oh, gotcha. Neat. Okay.
And that will leave us with Kyra. You said you had some reference art.
Yes. Freya, can you pop it on stream? I also sent it in the Discord. Heck.
Right, I think I saw this image. Yes.
Yeah. Scale mail. Maybe some leather mixed in with scale mail. Human, not Mikote, but yeah.
Let's see. sword. And...
Oh my god, the little fox. Oh my god.
Final Fantasy is such a good game. I love it.
Final fan service, more like. And I'm not mad.
This is kind of close, except she doesn't have a shield.
Hmm.
It's kind of got ears, but they'll be small enough on the token that we won't miss. But that's not the one I was looking.
That's really cute, though.
So Freya, you mentioned you were gonna like paint over yours. Is that like something we can do?
As in, I'll draw over yours too, or
Or like, is that? I mean, can we do that and then like have those tokens be used? Because I have a pen tablet that's been itching to be used.
there we go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think you can
absolutely.
just import any images, right?
Oh, awesome! Cool.
Anything
I
you
wasn't
want.
aware.
Yeah, we are not bound to these tokens. If you want to draw your own stuff, that is also legit.
I really like this one. I just want to modify it a bit. I like that she's holding a glass of wine. That's like inspiring to me.
We're gonna keep that in the other hand.
Yeah.
Well, these are the best that I actually have. Surprisingly, there are not a lot of...
Yeah, I think the one on the left works.
Okay. Something a little bit more weird, but I think that's what we can start with.
Heck yeah.
So if we will start with there.
Oh, can I have the handbook?
Yeah. Okay. Well then. That will be Ira.
I don't think I have any tool proficiencies, do I? Because there's nothing
Probably
from
not.
Sorcerer, and nothing
Yeah.
from Tabaxi.
Yep. You don't know how to use tools.
Huh.
Love it.
That kind of sucks, but it's okay, I guess.
It almost never comes into play. Fine. Cool. So we've got our tokens, we've got our town, we've got our character sheets, all of our abilities. Everyone's picked all their spells.
No, I am not done
No.
picking spells. I'm sorry, I'm very slow at this. So what spells do we already have? Because I want to make sure we're not fully overlapping.
I have all the spells.
So what do
She
you
has
have?
attack.
Tristel, what are your spells? And cantrips.
Yeah. Message, minor illusion. Did I choose too many? I think Neil, you said for me to choose 2 extra, right?
Let me check. Bard should have 2 cantrips and 4 spells.
Okay, awesome. So I have the correct amount then. So cantrips, I have message, minor illusion. Spells, I have charm person, sleep, bane, and silent image.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Do bards not have any attack cantrips?
I think they do. I just
You
didn't choose them. I think sleep actually goes underneath my attack zone on my sheet.
Okay, cool. Good. This'll work. And you dual wield daggers. And you've got 16 dex. You'll be attacking at +5. And you're familiar when dual wielding that your second attack is a bonus action and does not get your stat modifier to the damage output.
Yes.
Okay, cool. We will add a second dagger attack for you. That'll be dagger offhand. So that way it won't roll damage.
Awesome.
4 plus nothing on the first one. Looks like that. The second one worked that. Perfect. Cool. And Kyra, you've got a longsword, which you can use one-handed or two-handed, but mostly you use it one-handed because you are wielding a shield. And you'll get your fighting. You've got your fighting style now. You'll get your other stuff later. Right. I guess it is just up to Pearl to pick her spells.
Yeah, I know. I really want cheap water.
Oh. Should never have even shown it on screen.
Okay. I mean, I think I know some of the ones I want. I need to pick one more spell and one more cantrip.
Oh, I just remembered. How does money work?
Excellent. That's a great question. We should all start with some money. I completely agree. Let's see. As the town sheriff, you should probably have the most money. You've been stable, you're well employed, you're paid by the state, everyone pays their taxes, and you see that everyone pays their taxes so you can get paid. You live in a house that your family has owned for a long time. You don't have a mortgage or anything like that, so you can kind of just sit back and chill, eat off of your dad's food, and make money from the town. Let's give you some starting funds. Grab my second edition player's handbook. And you are going to start with a bunch of money, and then we're going to subtract for the equipment that you already have. Even though it was handed to you down by your parents, it's just a balancing act here. Roll me 5d4 and multiply that result by 10, and then we'll subtract like 50 for your existing gear.
Oof.
Oh no.
So you got 40 gold left.
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. Our bard has traveled far and wide, playing songs for people, but also incurring like inn fees and having to buy food along the way. But
Yes.
you're good, you're quick, you're nimble, all that jazz. So you roll me 2d6 times 10, and then we'll subtract maybe 20 for all of your expenses and debts and gear. All right, 20 gold for you. And our sorceress, you have little in the way of money. You mostly hunt, which feeds yourself. Whatever little extra you have, you can sell to people, but you'll need to resupply like cooking oil, and you'll need to buy coal. And you've recently like furnished your house or moved in, so you're still paying off some debts or had to like use all your good funds for that. So you are going to be 1d4 times 10, and then we'll probably have to subtract like 25 for all of your costs. So you might actually just be broke.
Great. At least I'm not in debt.
You got 5 gold. That would have been really fun to have someone start off in
Nice.
debt. Oh. For our economic system, it is 10 copper to the silver, 10 silver to the gold, and copper is the base unit of currency. A copper is very, very, very roughly equivalent to about $1. You know, you want to go to the bar and get a drink, your beer is going to be like 3 copper, like $3. You want to go, you know, stay at an inn somewhere in a foreign town, you're probably going to be paying like 6 silver for room and board and whatnot, you know. The dollar to copper doesn't always work out because of supply and demand and scarcity. Like glass is going to be super expensive back then, but like totally cheap these days. But it's a nice metric. And as such, all prices will be given in copper, but it's important to not just carry around copper because coins have weight. Every 50 coins weighs 1 pound. So it's nice to carry higher denomination coins so you don't have to haul around so much weight. And we can more or less trade in between these things pretty easily. Most shopkeepers will have copper, silver, and gold. So if you go up to a shopkeeper and say, you know, I want to buy this thing that's 3 silver, you can give them a gold and they'll give you 7 silver back. But if you show up and you're like, I have 7,000 copper, please convert to gold for me, they'll just laugh at you and you'll have to carry around your 7,000 copper, which is 140 pounds. So
many pennies.
So I have 5 gold in total, not anything else. Okay.
Right. So it doesn't have to be gold. You could have 5 gold, or you could have 2 gold, 30 silver, or you can break it down however you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it does auto track weights for you on that.
I believe so, yeah. I like that the currency system is metric. I appreciate that.
I've got another campaign that we're gonna launch in a month or two, and we're gonna do 20 copper to the silver and 12 silver to the gold. It's gonna be beautiful.
They're gonna have so much fun dealing with money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go not ancient, but like medieval England levels of currency.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Mm-hmm. Very excited.
So I'm gonna need equipment apart from picking spells.
Mm-hmm. Your equipment will come from your class.
Great.
So you will get a monk. You are not a rogue. You a sorceress or sorcerer. So you definitely don't get to start with the crossbow or the bolts. That is too high and fancy of a tech for your area. So any simple weapon you want, a component pouch or an arcane focus. There's no reason to go with component pouch. Arcane focus is better across the board for every reason that I can think of. And then either a dungeoneer's pack or an explorer's pack.
Okay.
And 2 daggers.
Oh, that was my simple weapon. 3 daggers.
Love it.
I am so excited about that.
The dagger team.
Oh, I should probably add it from the search bar thing, right?
Yes, from the compendium.
Right.
Team daggers. Dungeons and daggers.
Daggers are so aesthetic. Like, I love small swords.
Yeah, like I can imagine so many roleplay things. Like as a sheriff, I pull out my dagger and hold it to someone's throat. Sounds fun.
Okay, what? Let's see. Simple weapon, arcane focus, and dungeoneer's pack, or what was the other one? Adventuring pack.
Dungeoneer's pack or explorer's pack.
Okay. There's no arcane focus when I search for it.
Don't worry about it then. Just add it manually.
Okay. Why can you not delete empty entries? Oh, okay.
Right.
Oh, there's a little lock
Unlock
at the
key.
bottom. Yeah, if you unlock it, then you can.
Not if the item does not have a name. So you need to like
cool.
enter text and then you can delete it.
No data's been entered. It won't remove it.
This is probably written in PHP, right?
Give it data. It needs the data. That's fun.
Wait, so the Explorer's Pack, shouldn't that like explode into multiple items? Or...
Nope.
You would think.
Oh.
You would think.
Oh no.
You can go ahead and pick one now, and in between sessions, we can manually unpack it and add them one by one.
Okay, Explorer's Pack sounds like the thing that I want. Because I presume
that
I would
one
need like
medal?
bedrolls and whatnot.
Yeah, the difference is like one has a bedroll and the other has like some nails that you can pound into stone.
Oh. Okay.
Don't underestimate the random nails. They're so useful.
Okay, I'll just leave the Explorer's Pack unpacked for now. And then I got 2 daggers, and then I could pick a simple weapon.
Excellent.
Oh, that was a proficiency,
Yeah.
right?
Cool.
Oh, what's
And
the
I
weight
think
of
that
my
will-
arcane focus? How much does that weigh? Because it's a staff with a with a glass
Yeah.
sphere on top, which is probably not a great idea for weight.
Yes.
Does it counter
Is it
business?
actually a glass sphere on top? Because a glass ball that size is probably going to weigh like 20 pounds. Maybe not 20, but like 10 pounds is going to be incredibly awkward to walk around with.
Let's see, it's
Is
hollowed
it like
out.
a hollow glass sphere?
Good question.
Beyond
Yeah.
just says unknown.
Or do we just take the weight of a staff and leave it at that?
Well, it depends. How true to form do you want that token to be? Because if you want to haul around a giant glass sphere on top of your stick, we can totally do it, but it's going to be heavy. I'll find a way to get the weight of a glass ball that size. That looked to be what, maybe 8 inches in diameter? Foot in diameter?
Sort of like this, I imagine. So
Yeah, it's about 10
yeah.
inches.
I feel like I want that for aesthetic reasons. But if it weighs that
Agreed.
much, then maybe I'll just have to live with that. But you know what? I can also use it as a blunt weapon if it is that heavy. So
Okay. 0.091 is a cubic inch of glass, and a 10-inch sphere of glass is 4,188 cubic inches.
wait, 10-inch?
So you said 10, and you said like this, yeah?
Like this,
10 inches?
sort of. Or somewhere here, which is... Oh, maybe? I imagine this is like 20 centimeter diameter?
Centimeters, and we can convert.
20 centimeters in diameter, I think.
Okay.
Right, Wolfram Alpha says a 10 centimeter radius glass sphere.
I'm getting 48 pounds
That's a lot.
for a glass sphere about yay big, which I don't know if that's
23
right.
pounds.
Isn't that like my maximum carry on or something like that with my shitty
Yeah,
strength?
glass spheres are heavy.
You have to level up in order to wield the orb.
Do I have any like magical things I can just lift the sphere with?
23 pounds is sort of reasonable.
Yeah, that's still pretty heavy, and it's also going to make it completely useless as a weapon, because if you're carrying a staff that's like 20 pounds on one side and you're trying to hit things, like a warhammer really only weighs 3 to 5 pounds at most. Can we reduce the size of the glass ball? Can
Possibly.
we make it like fist size? Because that's like only a pound or so if it's just a few inches across.
It's still gonna be big in my character art, so you know.
Yeah, a 5 centimeter or 10 centimeter diameter is 3 pounds.
Yeah, because this is stone instead of glass, but this is about 3 or 4 pounds. This is way smaller, but like definitely half a pound.
What does the crystal ball say? Because that's an arcane focus too, right? Can't we just
Yeah,
like
but
take
it says
that
all
weight?
crystal balls.
Crystal ball's 3 pounds.
They're like, smallish crystal balls. They're not like orbs.
But if we take like the weight of a crystal ball plus the weight of a staff, or something.
That's totally fine. I just wanted to get like the size worked out so we all have the same head cannon, that you're not like walking around with a
Yeah, I'm not gonna
2 foot.
like pull it out and use it as a sledgehammer or something. I think that would be weird.
Yeah, but when like you fall into the water and you're like, oh, my staff is made of wood, it should float. And I'm like, nope, the crystal ball weighs 65
That's
pounds.
true,
It
yeah.
sinks to the bottom of the ocean.
Or use it as a
we just wanna make
counterweight
sure.
in some elaborate trap somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. I want you to be able to engage with your characters in a way that you can relate to in the real world, where you can think like, in the real world, I could use this to do X, Y, Z, and just have the mechanics play out easily.
Well, let's have the orb be smaller. Then. That's fine. Like, I don't know
Perfect.
what size would be fine, but what would
So
the
we'll
total
call it
weight
3
be?
pounds plus a 2-pound staff for a 5-pound staff with a ball.
Okay.
That sound good?
Mhm.
Sweet.
What are the so like what are the light weapons? Or simple weapons? Because I got 2 daggers already, and then I could add a simple weapon. And I was not allowed to add a light crossbow, right?
Right. Crossbows are high tech and unavailable in your area.
What about short bows?
Take a look at the weapons section.
I think 149 lists them all out in like what's simple and what's not.
Yep. A simple ranged weapon is indeed a short bow.
Okay.
Also darts.
Darts are, I feel like that takes a lot of skill to like dart something.
Yeah.
Do I have arrows then as well, or do I just have a short bow without arrows? I feel like I should have arrows, given that I'm like, if I'm out hunting with people or whatever, then...
Yeah, you can take, you'll have the simple, you can have the short bow, and then we'll just buy some arrows and a quiver with your 5 gold.
Really? I have to subtract from my 5 gold.
Yes.
See, I'm just a noble in name then. Like, Lydia is noble, but that was like 20 years ago or whatever, so now it doesn't count anymore. It's just a name.
She's probably still well regarded from her age-old nobility, but you as the adopted Tabaxi probably don't get to carry the noble reputation.
She likes me though. Lydia and I have a really good relationship.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it's not like she just abandons me or whatever.
No. She is your greatest fan and your biggest defender. She's the reason the town hasn't just like thrown you into the wilds. She speaks well of you, and the people like her, so they, by extension, they sort of
have to
deal
like
with you,
me,
even
you know?
though you're. Yeah. It seems like a quiver is a gold and 20 arrows is a gold. So
Okay.
Head on down to 3.
Thanks.
You're so welcome. It's gonna be great.
Rip Freya.
Me grumpy. Is it an
Besides,
efficient quiver or a regular quiver? Is it an efficient quiver? The search suggested that maybe there's an efficient quiver.
There's an efficient quiver?
I have no
It's
idea
probably
what that is.
not that one. That's gonna cost extra.
It's probably a magical one. How many arrows? 20?
Yeah. Each of the quiver's 3 compartments connect to extra-dimensional space that allows the quiver to hold numerous items while never weighing more than 2 pounds. Yeah, you definitely don't have an efficient quiver. No
Okay.
way.
Rip.
What are the rules for the arrows? Do we roll whether or not you can find the arrow or if the arrow breaks, or?
Generally speaking, arrows will not be recoverable. I have not really done a lot of archery in my life. I've done very, very little. But if you're not shooting at a target with lots of clear space around it, you're just shooting at that building over there and you miss your target, you'll spend like half an hour looking for one stupid arrow that couldn't have gone far at all, but you can't frickin' find it. And then you find it like halfway in a bush that you never would have expected it to be in. So generally speaking, arrows aren't recoverable. Situationally, like maybe if you're like in a dungeon and you're shooting at the monsters and there's nowhere for them to go, then we can like roll to see if you recover them. But if you're like in the woods, that shit's gone.
Okay.
Maybe if you like hit someone with it, we can roll to see if it's recoverable, like if it's still embedded in them. But missed shots are just gonzies.
Because I spent a significant fraction of my money to get these arrows, so that's why I'm wondering. So.
Well, arrows are expensive. They have been historically. that volleys of archers were pricey things to have on hand. Yeah, tracks real world. And I think that is everything. I think that will wrap up our character building session.
Cool.
So congratulations, everybody. Well
Yay!
done.
Oh, I need to pick spells. I guess I can do that off stream if you want to, because I'm gonna need to.
Yeah, you can just PM us if you need questions, but I think you can pick them on your own. We'll still need to schedule our first session, which we can talk about offline. We don't need to bore people with our scheduling details.
What's the approximate one for, like, are people gonna have to wait a month, or is it like 2 weeks, 1 week?
I can start anytime in March.
Okay. Great.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we come in, we will start our first adventure. I don't want to tip too much of the story, but this quiet little town is not going to remain quiet for very long.
I'm scared.
Dear
Dun, dun.
beloved elven friend might have brought some trouble with her along the
Dun,
way.
dun, dun.
God damn it,
Sorry, y'all.
Tristel. It's always Tristel.
Sorry, y'all. I'm gonna spice it up in here.
All right. Freya, you got anything to say to kick us out of all this?
I don't think so, apart from thank you very much for doing this in the first place. I'm super excited to play. I have no idea how it's going to go, if, like, I don't know if I'm even good at role-playing or playing D&D at all, but I'm super excited to see how this is going to turn out.
Likewise.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Neil, are you doing something after this? Like, should I raid your Twitch, or...?
In an hour, we will have our penultimate episode of Shenanigans, a sort of Monster of the Week campaign that's been running for like 5 or 6 years now, and it's finally wrapping up and ending. So today is the second to last session, and then next week will be the last session of Shenanigans. That'll be in an hour from now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could raid you if you want to start your stream now, but maybe you don't want to.
I've got some things I need to do in between now and then. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else then. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you're excited for this campaign. I'm excited for this campaign. And I will see y'all next time. Oh, y'all should follow Neil, and like, he's got a Patreon. I should set up links in chat so people can support Neil and his stuff.
Thank you.
And I have a link to my Patreon. I'm going to drop that as well. I can't drop that because I'm not using my streaming computer. So never mind. I'm not doing that. I have this like button panel next to my computer, and it's connected to the other computer now. So anyway, all right, that's it. Thank you all so much for joining. And I will see you all on session 1.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.